than just a silly crush. Wonder if you even notice me. You gotta feel me. I love you good. Just wanna be your girl. I wonder if you even notice me. Ooh, you gotta feel me. I would love you good. Just wanna be your girl. Wonder if you even know.
Hey y'all. Come on in the room. Happy Friday. I hope this is the end of everyone's work week and you have unwound. I hope that you have had time over this last 3-4 weeks to finally sit down and watch The Polygamist so that you can be an active participant in this conversation. But welcome. If you're new here, my name's Ashley. This is My Sweet Perspective, where I give my take on all the things TV and movie related. You know I'm here to put you on. Joined by the lovely Tyra over there at Struggle Reviews TV. And if you haven't run up my upload for this, go on over there and check that out after the live discussion to get, just a little bit of a different, approach to it. That was up on fresh eyes. I've had a week or two to sit with it now. So I'm ready to dive into all the things. And Tyra has finally watched it, y'all. And so we need to hear from her. Tyra, happy Friday. How are you? And are you ready to talk about The Polygamist?
Girl, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready to speak my language and suck my teeth. Hell yeah, I want to talk about Joe. I am excited. Ashley was over there living for it in the Discord. She did her upload, and I just didn't watch it. This is not something that I watch at all. But when I got over there, I couldn't leave. So we got to talk about it.
Absolutely. So come on in. Take your shoes off. Get your libations ready. If you are one of my South African girlies, do not come for me with these pronunciations. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to try to give credit where all the credit is due to the team behind this, because I really think it's important for us. And I'm so grateful that South Africa has had a light shone on it with this production. It's been #1 worldwide, I think in 62 countries, they said on Netflix. And so I'm just really excited that they're finally kind of getting some shine and recognition globally. So bear with me, okay, in these pronunciations, but come in, talk to us. We talk back, all right? Engage in the conversation. And and if you got something to say, put a few dollars behind it. We'll be happy to address any question that you have. Tremaine, what's going on, sis? Happy Friday. What's going on, Anakin, not Vader? Hope you're having an amazing day. Lisa, please stop, says excited. Listen, and so am I, to actually be able to talk about it with someone on in these here YouTube streets. Tony says happy Friday, everyone. Hey, Danny, what's going on, sister? Hope you're having a great day. And it was a little Mapiano, you know what I mean, with Tidra. It was cute, right? That was a cute little mix. Shannon, what's going on? Happy Friday. What's going on, Rico? My partner is in the building. Hey, Queen Mahogany. She's been waiting on this one. All right. Mommy by Chance, good to see you, boo. Hey, Joshua. Hey, TP. Looks like the gang's all here, Tyra. The gang's all here. Andrew says, listen, and the daddy wasn't ish. We're going to get into Jonasi. All right. We're going to get into all the things. But first, I want to start over here because, we start here every single time for everything. And I'm going to go to you first, Tyra, because you are the guest and you have freshly watched. So I want to know from you, what are your overall thoughts on this series as what they call it? I think they call it a super novella, a super telenovela style 22 episode series. What did you think of The Polygamist?
Girl, the way y'all let Joe Nasty play in y'all face, like I just couldn't. I said, oh my goodness, this is like so throwback to me. Because these are stories. These are stories. This is Young and the Restless. This is those, late night telling those situations that your mommy and daddy were waiting up for. This is something that I would have gladly returned week by week for. Because they built up the suspense towards the end of that episode. It was like, what? I wonder what's going to happen next. Back in the day, this would have been appointment television. When I tell you I was stuck, I couldn't get up. And it wasn't until Ashley said, you could have watched it in English, right? They could have. What? I said, that was an option? After I done sat here for 22 plus episodes and read the screen of subtitles, going back when I didn't hear it correctly? Lord, but that's how committed I was. This was good, okay? The way y'all let this hero in a half-shell turtle power play in your face for 20 episodes was wild. I said, oh my goodness, how hard is this to take out a snapping turtle? It just can't be that hard. This was horrid. He was terrible. And the women wasn't too much better. Like, this was so entertaining, but not just in a campy, dramatized telenovela type of way. This was actually great writing. Not only was it entertaining in that aspect, but the acting was on point. When I tell you these people showed up, I was invested in every single person here. Not a moment or an episode was wasted. I was sad and I'm waiting on part 2.
Talk about it. As was I. The people on the thread said, listen, I need to talk about the Polygamist. And I was like, what's the Polygamist? Usually I'm in my Nollywood bag. I will go over to South Africa occasionally. Like, I loved Savage Beauty. What is it? Blood and Water. Like, I've been over there in them streets and I know they get down, but I just wasn't sure about this. I'd seen the trailer and I was like, I don't know. The buzz started and I said, let me take my behind over there and just tip and see and play it in the Discord, because the family's going to come together and they'll decide. I think immediately TP was like, oh, I'm set, we need to watch this. And I was like, okay, we're gonna sit and we're gonna watch it. And we watched most of it in the Discord, and immediately I said, what's gonna happen next? Because every episode it built and it built and it grew and it grew, and it wasn't just about the purely kind of salacious nature of the content and the hunching. There was some heavy hunching going on, okay? Like, there was bathtub hunching, there was countertop hunching, there was hunching in the woods, there was hunching in the dark, there was hunching in the office. There was hunching
with your mama in the other room.
Listen. Your mouth work.
Your mouth work. Hey, Jonasi, no.
Get down there and go to work. You know what to do. Talk on this microphone. Listen. So outside of that, it was the fact that all of these characters were nuanced. They were all layered. There were no perfect people in this. And I love that. To me, and we'll get into it because the comment sections beg to differ with my takes on this. But all of the women, while I believe all of the women were victims, some eventually became villains as well. And I really like a story and a narrative when we can kind of go beneath the surface and say, these aren't perfect people. Can I still empathize with them? And I think this is the thing. And, Tyler Perry's about to catch a stray. This is where he fails for me, is when writing women, right? And I feel like this being adapted from Sue's book, I really feel like she's able to capture the essence of a woman, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of those things, and still deliver a poignant story that still makes you feel, right? Because there's no perfect people in it. And I think that just speaks volumes. It talks about the human experience. I watched an interview earlier of her on a YouTube channel, I believe, called Engineer Your Life. I dropped the link in my description. And it's like a 48-minute interview that she did. And she says, this isn't a South African story. This is really a global story. And in my upload, I said the same thing. Like, if you have not met, encountered, or heard about a Jonasi in your life, I fear you're living under a rock. This type of thing and carrying on happens. It was so relatable, unfortunately. But again, I think it was a powerful story. And Sue say that she always planned on a part 2. So for y'all saying she hasn't written it yet, whatever, in that interview, in that 48-minute interview, our sister said, listen, I always planned on doing a part 2. So just putting that out there for the people. But I loved it. I thought this was great in the space of a telenovela-style story. I think they did everything you wanted it to do, right? Which makes me want to see the other episode. Like, I want to keep going. I think everyone I've talked to says they binged this in less than 2 days.
Yeah.
Shannon, Shannon, thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. I've been trying to put my friends onto South African Films TV for a while, and the Polygamists finally got their attention. Listen, just late, Shannon. You know, some people just don't listen until after the fact.
I watched the movies. Like, I just never ventured into the shows, maybe reality or over there, but just like, I was like, oh, baby, after I watched this, I went down the rabbit hole. I said, what else y'all got? I want some more of them. How many, give me all of them. How many y'all got?
Listen, give it all to us. But I do want to start over here with the creation story and also give you a reading list. If you are a book reader and you need something else to read and you love Sue's way of approaching a story, while The Polygamist was her debut novel. I believe it came out in 2012, right? And originally, Sue was not able to get this picked up for traditional publishing at all. Like, nobody was buying it. Nobody wanted to pick it up and distribute her book. And so she went the route of self-publishing. And she said on the journey, she kind of learned some things, but it never, really took off the way that she wanted it to. She says at the time, the book 50 Shades of Grey came out like just that same year, and she saw how that skyrocketed and was on all of the bestsellers list and whatever. And she said, maybe I shouldn't have quit my job in corporate. Like, maybe I should really rethink this. So the fact that all these years later, it's finally gained traction. She says normally her book sales for The Polygamist she'd sell maybe 1,000 copies a year of this book. She said after this show came out, she sold 1,000 books in June alone. So it's like kind of bringing a resurgence to her dream. And it was so encouraging to me because you feel like, especially if you create in any capacity, in any space, that you can be so unseen and so unheard for so long. And so I think to have the tenacity to hold on and to see a moment come full circle. She said she wrote this. It was during the World Cup, and South Africa was in the World Cup. And now we're kind of coming full circle all these years later. It's the World Cup, and now she's on Netflix. She talks about how this was optioned a couple times before. People had bought the options for this book a couple times before, and nothing ever happened. So she said when this time came, she's like, yeah, if it happens, cool. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And so now here we are. But she's also written An Angel's Demise, A Family Affair, and The Gold Digger. She's had 4 books in total, and she'll be working on another one. Tyra, had you heard of Sue Nyathi before this? And what do you think of her story? I think that's so incredible.
Unfortunately, no, I had no clue. As far as her story, baby, keep shining, keep smiling, knowing you can always count on me, girl. They were coming. They were coming. Like, I like that there's a resurgence for any of this, because baby, best believe The Gold Diggers, A Family Affair, and Angel, it's all getting picked up. I don't see any reason why, because if you're saying The Polygamist was her first, that's her first book, right?
Her debut, yeah.
Her debut, then you only get better. You only, get better as each book goes along. And I'm sure that every single one is like eclipsing The Polygamist. I mean, as if we could, but I'm just saying. I'm really happy for her. Like, this is very, very inspirational. Like you said, this is just really wild though. It's like, yeah, it was just sitting over there. Nobody was interested, and just like, boom. And now everybody's docketing your door trying to see, what did Polygamist said? Where's the rest? Is there a part 2? Do you have other books in the series? I'm happy to see anyone get success, especially somebody who is committed enough to continue on, even when it didn't really plan out how she wanted it to. Maybe just wait. Pray on just a little while longer. Your dream might come true.
It just might and will at some point. But yeah, I thought it was really cool. And again, she is from Zimbabwe, and the story was actually originally based in Zimbabwe. And so she did want to have that put out there as well. And so again, this was optioned, picked up by Stained Glass Productions. That's who produced it. But Akin Omotosa, a Nigerian filmmaker, actually was the showrunner for the series and enlisted a host of writers from South Africa, members of one of the presidential families who was a polygamist. They incorporated some of their stories within this. What I found very, very interesting, though, is that Sue says she really wasn't included in the adaptation. She had no work directly on the adaptation at all. They used her source material, her story, as a base, and they built on that. Like, for instance, she says, like, in her book, Lindani is not the best friend in Pume at all. She is young, but she's not correlated to that. She also says that she didn't really focus on the kids in her book at all as much as they did in the series. She planned to do that in her part two. And so she says that although she wasn't included in the day-to-day, she was able to go on set. And she says she really kind of sums it up to the fact that, you know, a lot of times when you have the writer in the writer's room as it's being adapted, some people don't feel the freedom to move how they want to in telling the story. And she says as long as it kept the spirit of it, she's very well pleased with the series and how it came out. Tyra, what do you think of this full writer's room, and should other people consider that when they are telling stories?
Maybe he called his people like he's supposed to do. Why you in there alone, Tyler? Huh? You know, we're talking to you in the back. Anybody else who feels like it's a crime to have an in-depth writer's room, or take your time to really finesse and cultivate a story, because a lot of the times if there is a source material and we decide to stick to it, you can tell that if he enhanced it this much to know that, you know what, we probably want to expose a little bit more light on the kids or have some little weight light there. It really constructs a different narrative around Jonasi, if he's just not, because if I'm thinking that without so much of that, it's just constant, you know, you running around being a polygamist. Mm-hmm. So that really enhances the downfall for us in the story. I think any changes that were made were executed very well, and it only heightened what was already, you know, a great story. But yeah, it helps, you know, if you have time and you consult and you share in the writer's room and don't want it to be all you everywhere all the time. Like, you know, it does something. It does.
It helps every single time. Many hands make a heavy load light. Listen, come on through here with all of your experience and all of your knowledge of the culture, of the practice of all of those things. But yeah, let's get into it. And it's going to be a little bit different. I will get into the story. We'll kind of recap that briefly, but I really want to talk about the characters. I really want to talk about the women. I really want to talk about the archetype of, you know, I want my cake and eat it too type of man. I really want to get into, is this deception or is this truly what polygamy is, as it is a practice and tradition in Africa, across the diaspora, really, and quiet as it's kept, it's a practice in America. People just don't talk about it that much amongst Blacks. So as far as the story is concerned, we start at the beginning, or excuse me, we start at the very end. Jonasi is in the tomb, and Joyce rolls up and says, you know, basically, F you, mother effer. You could have had it the right way and you chose to have it your way, you know, and I hope you burn in hell, you know, basically is how it starts. And then we kind of work our way backwards and we meet Joyce, who is the quintessential, you know, first wife, I think, that trophy wife, the one that kind of helps you build, but also is good for your public persona. She is the social media influencer darling who has constructed her world about the idea of this perfect marriage, right? And Jonasi is self-made, and y'all didn't like when I said self-made in the video, but that's what the log line says. And they didn't like that because they said it was Joyce who helped and it was her daddy's money and all. Listen, they still consider him a bootstrapper. He came from the streets. All right. He came from the district or whatever they call it over there. He came from the hood, the ghetto, the projects. All right. And he worked his way up. He went to school. He did all the things. And so now he's got all of the resources, all of the money, and he feels like he can do whatever he wants to do. Very quickly, we discover that he battles with infidelity. She's trying to maintain this family structure at home of perfection. The children are noticing this is not his first situation where he steps out. Enter Matipa, who has thrown her coochie at his feet in the office, starting out with his brother Magesh and working her way to him because he's the big money. And I just want to be kept. I want to be your wife. I want you to leave your family, your children, your first wife, and come and be with me. They get entangled, honey, ends up getting her pregnant. Joyce relents and says, listen, since you're going to be out here and be a hoe anyway, let's just go ahead and make it official. Polygamy, we practice it here. Let her be the second wife and we can quash all this. I can still keep my brand deals and we can do, thank you, the township. We can do everything that we need to do. So quickly after that, things still go awry because we discover that Jonasi already has a second wife, Sister Essie, who has been masquerading as his sister-in-law, perpetrating a fraud with his brother Magesh for 20 years, pretending that her daughter is Magesh's daughter and that, this is the auntie and the uncle. Joyce is my sister. When I tell you Essie is giving her advice, that man don't come home to be nagged, girl. Just smile in his face and give him some coochie and he'll be all right, okay? So we discover that at this point, he's got 3 wives, but for the man who wants his cake and to eat it too, that's not enough. Enter very young Lindani and Mpume, his daughter's best friend, who is basically groomed, who's been running around their house since she is 8 years old. She is his next victim, if you will. And he lures her with foie gras and Wagyu burgers and all of the things. And next thing we know, she pregnant too. Okay. So we get over there. So now we got Joyce, we got Essie, we got Matipa, and we have Lindani. But that's not all. But wait, there's more, because at one point, Jonasi loses his mind. His empire is crumbling. He decides that he's going to beat the brakes off Matipa and come home and beat Joyce in the same night. Joyce said, I had enough. She went to jail for almost burning the house down earlier in the season. And she met a woman who had the package.
Ashley.
Listen, she did. She met a woman that had the package. Said woman goes over there because Jonasi, if you got a big butt and a smile, he's bending it over. All right. Never trust a big butt and a smile. He trusts every big butt with every smile, okay? Because that lady came knocking on the dodo. He opened it up. He dicked her down real good and woke up with the package, all right? Illuminated. And now, because, Joyce knew who this man was, that he was bound to his culture. He did not believe in natural or, I guess modern medicine, that he wasn't going to take no medication. So Jonasi dies. And then there's more, because now the wives have to fight over the body. Who's going to take care of them? Who's going to bury him? Who's going to do all of those things? And the children, in the process, lose their marbles. And Mpume, the favorite daughter, she goes off because I can't deal with you fools anymore. Sarah, the daughter that he never claimed, tries to kiss her uncle in the mouth, but eventually is trying to pull herself together. At the funeral, they acknowledge her as a daughter, so she feels great. But the son, Minzy, who starts out as a very sweet boy, by the end is cussing hoes out at the strip club, hoes with big booties at the strip club. He's cussing them out, all right? And by the end of it, he's sleeping with Lindani, the young girl that he always had a crush on, that he found her bobbing and weaving on his daddy's D. And since that moment, he's been forever changed. Now, does he have the package? We don't know. It ends, again, far worse than it begins, with Joyce inadvertently creating her husband again and her son, in my opinion. So in a nutshell, that's the story. That's what it is. Again, I told you it's going to be quick. We needed just to get it out there. Tyra, any thoughts on the narrative, on the yarn, any things that stood out to you before we get into these characters?
No, this is not, child, if you ain't watched it, go watch it. This is not a show that you can condense into a 5-minute.
I did my best.
And they had went on down to the house. This shit is not one of those, it was so layered and so much happening every single episode. It's you had to be there. I kept having somebody come in. What you watching? What you do? What is it? Can you explain? It's no, I'm not explaining nothing. Just go sit down and watch it. You just can't. Ashley wrapped it on up in a nice little bow for y'all. I'm not even going to try that. Kudos to you, Ashley. Absolutely not. Watch the show.
Tyra said just go on and watch it, right? It's a crazy story. Like I said, 22 episodes. Ain't no way we could sit up here and recap bar for bar. That's what they were saying in my upload. You forgot. Girl, how the hell am I going to cover all of y'all want an 18-hour video? Like, I don't. Anyway, easing on down this road, because what I want to talk about and what there has been a lot of contention around in the comment section was the fact that I called all of these women victims, right? And ultimately, I decide that in my view, Joyce turned into a full and complete villain at the end. There was no winner in this situation at all whatsoever. Some people came back and said, first, starting with Essie, Essie's not a victim in any way. Essie was culpable, just as culpable as he was. She covered up. She lied. Tyra, she pretended to be Joyce's best friend, her listening ear, all the while she was banging that man's back out. And I say to that, nay. I say that I don't view Essie as a full victim. I view Essie as a product of her situation and how she was raised. Does she have to take some accountability? Yes, as all of the women do. However, she's not any more culpable in my mind than Joyce is, than Matipa was, or even Lindani, except Lindani's a child, and that's something different we'll talk about. I feel like Essie was a victim of loyalty and a victim to being kept and taken care of. I think that Essie got comfortable in a situation. I feel like she was that Build-A-Bear woman who said, listen, you have nothing. I'll give you my last because I want to see you make it. I remember I was the one that saved you on the playground, Jonasi, when the boys was beating the brakes off you. All right. I was your first little poontang that you got. We shared all of these moments together. You made me promises and you kept those promises, right? So this wasn't, to me, their relationship wasn't just about sex. I honestly felt like of all of the women, even though he treated her terribly, this was the closest thing he had, I think, that represented home. And if you look at every scene you see Essie is, even her stature, the way that she carries herself was very warm, was very motherly, was very like, this is the relationship that he saw as home. Now, she wasn't good enough to be brought in public, but she was good enough for this traditional ceremony. She was good enough for that little lobola. He got her. It was cute enough for that red BMW and that well-kept house in the township. Listen, in Soweto, it was what it was. And again, I don't hate Essie. I don't hate any of these women, and I can really empathize with her because, like I said in my uploading, y'all disagreed with that. For all intents and purposes, Essie was his first. She was his first everything. He didn't acknowledge her publicly or put a ring on it first with her, but she was his bottom B, Tyra. Now, talk to me about Essie, and do you believe that she was a victim of loyalty, or do you not believe she was a victim of anything?
Girl, poor Essie. First of all, none of them are any better than the other as far as these wives are concerned. They all have burdens and crosses to bear. Because my main thing with all of them was Jonasi, but you already say who you are when you don't prioritize and protect your children. And I do understand, the culture and where this is and where they're coming from. But if you're going to say that about her, then what does that say about Joyce over there? Like, who was protecting who? Who was prioritizing what was really important, which was their children? Decisions that you made, fine. But, baby, my poor thick madame. this bosom of comfort. Like, Essie is a victim. To be in this sunken state of mind, to subject yourself to accept this for this many years. To just start off already, baby, she was in waiting, pining, and hey, is a girl coming around? Yeah, you go handle that. Yeah, you make sure you sit though and eat the food I made. Like I'm gonna feed you, I'm gonna clothe you, I'm gonna protect. She was protecting him down on the schoolyard, whooping ass. she was doing a whole lot. She was putting stock into him in the very beginning. I don't know if it grew from a friendship to be more, but if it wasn't for her, he wouldn't be. He's a part of, why he is who he is. This is why we even got, to get the application, the process to even qualify to go to school, to even meet a Joyce. So she, laid that groundwork for him. And child, Jonasi, for all of his, poor quirks and excuses, if he tells you and promises you something financially, often he delivers, on consignment that you're giving me what I want, of course. But yeah, I did promise you X, Y, and Z, and I might not call you every day. I might have got married, while I was away, but I'm still going to prioritize you because you helped build me to be who I am as well. It's just the thought of the moment Joyce blinks wrong, or the moment maybe whomever doesn't pick up the phone, because I doubt that the 4 women and child that we meet here are the only ones that he was laying alone and spreading wild with. Jonasi was for everybody, but you're always coming second, or third or fourth. But it's one thing to do that, but to be in hiding and have to hide yourself and your children and your relationship is so disheartening. And she was so comfortable. She was so comfortable and just happy to be thrown a bone, but at the same time, she wasn't, because let us roll up to the Jonasi estates, baby. We drinking like a fish, because I can barely take it. I can barely hold it in. But just as long as eventually he'll come to see me, just to know that you're over there and you're raising kids, and you're dropping off money. You're pretending to be my uncle, brother, husband, but he hasn't seen her, hasn't come here, like he hasn't spent time with them in a year. Like, girl, what? This is a sad human being. I'm so sorry. I felt really sorry for Essie, because for all intents and purposes, I think she really loved him the most. He could do as terrible as he was, as far as doing wrong. She was only going to see him as one way. She had the most starry eyes because she knew him from, they was little wee lads running around, and I saw you grow from nothing to something. And I'm so proud, and I'm happy to even be a part of that I'm even willing to take the crumbs that you're giving me and my son. That's just, baby, he just over there, because it's not your son anyway, but not even that, your actual daughter. You could give a damn. I really felt sorry for it. But when Essie came with that soup, she said, "Girl, this is soup. Can you just it's his favorite soup. Can you just make sure you get it to him?" Like, the thought of when we get more into her stature and just the classism of it all, as far as Joyce is concerned, she was treated poorly. Just because of who she was and where she came from, she was never going to get that treatment, or even just the standards of what she set for herself. I got you the little BMW, I got you the house, that's good enough. Yet, but it was never going to be something to where you were going to prioritize me, because you took your happy ass over there anyway and got someone that was more palatable and claimed that she was the second wife, because I couldn't even be acknowledged as the second wife. I couldn't even get that honor. I felt really sorry for Essie in so many ways, but I also was pissed off at Essie plenty of times, because, girl, stand up. I wanted Essie to get up so much. Baby, the way Essie was running around there hiding that young tender, I said, "No, put him on the glass, Essie. You gonna get that back, man. How long we gotta wait for him to roll up to get a hot plate and some hot ass, Essie? You get what you need to get." But the way that we really acknowledge, culture or not be damn, Mom, we always came second. We always came second to him. You never prioritized us. Hell, you never even prioritized yourself. I feel sorry for you. It was just really, really sad that the only voice of reason seemed to be the son.
Freedom.
Trying to make sure, yeah, that doesn't get, too much. Well, she's just broken, but projected. It's like, okay, well, now me, I was one thing, but my sister's getting older. It's really affecting her. And you're still just, well, let me take you shopping. Let's go to the malls. Go to the shops. The shops. No, that's not enough. I don't want to go to the shops, Mom. That's not enough. I want a relationship. I want to be claimed. I want to be known. I want to be a daughter. This is not normal. You have to think of just the psyche of a woman who could normalize something like this. This is a broken human being. Okay. Poor thing. Poor tink tink, if you will.
This is conditioning. And of course, we'll get into Lindani, who I think that's definitely a grooming situation. But I mean, it could be suggested that Essie is this. I mean, really all of the women, because I see you just, Ashley, and you said Essie made a choice. Joyce was in the dark and half the children were too, the ones who were subjected to her decisions. But I have to posit as well that Joyce made a choice as well. Joyce wasn't as blind as she pretended to be. Joyce made a choice for image to stay in a situation that she could have been out of, right? And I just say, if we're going to give Joyce grace, right? I think we have to open up a space to give Essie some as well. And like I said, there are things that she needs to be held accountable for. But just like I think Lindani has been groomed, just like I think just like I think Jonasi groomed all of these women, right? He conditioned them to a certain lifestyle, to a certain set of behaviors, and eventually they just accepted it. I say he must have had the best beefcake in South Africa, Tyra, because there's literally no way all of these women just went dick dumb just for no reason or for nothing. But again, these two grew up together. Essie, I think, was in a state of mind where she couldn't see clearly. And I think you get that a lot of times in women and men who've been in domestic situations for a very long time, right? You get conditioned to a certain way of being, a certain way of acting. We saw Jonasi break out and do some DV stuff we had never seen before. How do we know that hadn't happened over there with Essie? How do we know that? In addition to that, I found it very interesting that she would name her son Freedom. Like that was like the furthest thing from what you were in this relationship with Jonas. And it was like a part of her, I think, wanted to be free. Why would you name that baby that? And he turned out to be the biggest drunk. And I think that was the most poignant thing. And I was honestly hoping that when he blows up at her and they have that confrontation, like, I'm not going to let you make my sister into what I became because you put a man over us all of this time. But really, Essie didn't. Essie's lost in the sauce, honey. Essie, even up to the funeral.
All the way down to the very end.
There's no.
After knowing what he did, because towards the end, all of the women basically saw the worst of Jonasi. And she never strayed. She never chose herself. Even down to like the final hour, she's like, "Well, I'm not. He has to call me first." Like the other women, you know, we were going on. We are trying to move on. She's like, "Well, she's like," and they're like, "Mom, you miss him." Just admit it. Like you miss him. It was rose tinted glasses as far as Essie was concerned, because he delivered on what, you know, he said he would give me. And, you know, if he was going to drop a little D off here and there, that was great. Did I want more? Yeah, but this is what I settled for. Like, I just knew that eventually he would come home to me one of those days when Joe or whoever was acting. And that's just all that I could ever accept or ask for. My children be damned, which is pathetic, but that's what it was.
But what do you think about that? Because, and not just in African culture, where we can see just from the outside looking in that sometimes there are more traditional values held by women there, especially as it relates to polygamy, having first, second, third, fourth, and fifth wives. Like I think Sue, in that interview I watched earlier, she said that her grandfather had 5 wives, right? But that was a completely different time. He bought each of them a plot of land. You have a bunch of kids, so they worked the land together. But there was a transparency, there was an openness, there was a thing that when I enter into this marriage with this man, I understand and know that he's going to have multiple wives. That's part of the culture. Do you think that Essie just was just accepting of it, like as, hey, this is just what it is? This is our culture, even though she wasn't even publicly acknowledged as the wife? He gave her a traditional ceremony at some point. I mean, after the fact, but
I think, well, I don't know, because there was a part of Essie that felt a little liberated in the beginning, because, you know, she wasn't just money. It was money. She's like, I'm saving. I have my own career. I'm a beautician. I want to have my shops. Like, she did have her own dreams outside of that. And even in the way, like early on, it felt like she was trying to reject him. Like, I know what you are. I know exactly what kind of man you are. I need to stay clear. You can have a hot plate of food, but that's all I'm ever going to give you. I really wanted to go back and kind of study, like, what was this a plot set up by side all this time? Like, what like, was your father ever really gonna, you know, give you some money, or were you here sniffing around trying to grease Essie's wheels because you knew that eventually you might need her? Like, baby, the way Jonasi is, this is a swindler. This is a finesser. Okay, this is a finesser. So I think a part of it was culturally, because she was so proud to, even when it's like, I saw you, you know, in the paper, you got married, you ignored my calls. Like, what about everything you said before? But the moment he, you know, once again, getting into like class and playing on property, like, you're rolling up with, you know, my dreams and what? I think he was obligated to Essie, like, man, please. She said, get off of him. She came and saved him. No, it was very much also her circumstances and her not, coming from a bunch of means. If somebody puts a nice shiny car and a new house
Yeah.
in your face, especially in this culture, you're gonna turn it down because of my politics. Like, I feel like he took advantage of a lot of those things. Like, what are you gonna do? Say no? That's why he was sure to, every single time he rolled up. It wasn't just Jonasi rolling up with all of his D. We were rolling up with money,
Mhm.
financial security, which is something that a lot of these women just didn't have, especially back if you're getting into Essie. Now, Joyce is a whole different situation.
Yeah.
But I felt like we played on those things. So I think it was a mix of cultural expectations and what you should accept, because we'll look at this on the outside and then you'll see someone within the culture. And it's like, well, what do you mean? Like, was she supposed to say no? Like, it would be blasphemy for her to say no or
Yeah.
turn it down because you're coming second or whatever to whomever. He's about to set you up. He's a good man. He works.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it was a little bit of both, but I do feel like he had her on the back end because I'm going to need her.
Yeah, for sure. I think the only other thing I kind of wanted to talk about while we have Essie up here is her relationship with Sarah, because her relationship with her children and her fault to them is where I take umbrage with Essie. That's where we can get into some of her villainy, in my opinion. Joyce and all them kind of be damned. But when it comes to her children, especially Sarah, Tyra, do you think that she is perpetuating herself in Sarah, like creating a mini her? Because the way we see Sarah become unhinged from jealousy for non-acknowledgement to almost living in a delusion, like, yeah, I'm gonna have my coming out, and dad's gonna be there, my biological father, and he's going to do whatever, to the next thing we know, Sarah's on her knees bobbing and weaving because in Pume, she's the favorite daughter and she's acknowledged, but I'm his daughter too, right? So how do I get to this place? I think we saw Sarah wrestle with being hidden, but not only that, but what is this example I've learned from? Because at one point we see her trying to kiss her uncle in the mouth. Like, you're trying to kiss the man who really raised you. You're supposed to be daddy. At one point you're trying to kiss him in the mouth. And thankfully Magesh was like, girl, if you don't go home, take your ass home to your mama and let's figure this out. But we even see an altercation at one point between Sarah and Essie, where she pushes Essie down the stairs, and I think she breaks her hip or leg or something. It looked very. You put your hand on your mama. It looked very. And I'm saying, could Essie take a dip or tip or two? Absolutely, but this is where I take issue, because I really think she could be perpetuating herself in her daughter.
Absolutely. The moment she tried to kiss that uncle in the mouth, it was already present then. But a lot of the relationships here are based in transactional things. So it's like, well, you're here, you've been here in the capacity of my dad, but you're not really my biological dad. And as far as who supports me, who buys me nice things, who's here when I need them, it's you. You really could make a great husband. And it's like, well, you shouldn't see me as that anyway. I've been here, but like, look at the examples. Yeah. Look at your father. But when she said, oh my God, happy birthday, Dad, let me get a look. Say, put it away. Put you don't post a damn thing. You don't get to post anything. I will never acknowledge you. And then it's you have mama constantly validating every ground, everything that Jonasi, like, it's just, oh, well, he's trying, or, well, didn't he get you these? Well, it's like, well, how long did you think financial means was going to suffice for her? How long did you guys think that you could really keep her in the shadows and be a secret? And then when she starts to act out and she's leading with her sexuality, I mean, that's what you do, baby. The way that hair was going to be cut, I got a hot meal. I'm about to switch up this wig. Say you want a new woman? Bam, wig. You want something like her ass? Yes, I'm serving it up. You gonna get a home cooked meal. You gonna get these back shots. I might rub your back. Oh yes, I'm gonna pray. It's like, well, yeah, I'm gonna try to do the same thing. So maybe I can have that same relationship with another man. But it's also like, oh well, I'm also looking at how vindictive and spiteful you can be, or I'm sure on a cold, dark day, baby, the way they would sit up in there and talk about that family and Joyce and Jonasi and the sister, and yeah, they're just da-da-da-da-da. Mm-hmm. And we built up this animosity and this hatred. Meanwhile, I'm supposed to go over there and play nice and play cousin, or like, what? And then it's like, well, if that's what we're doing to be that vindictive, you get on your knees with Joyce's husband all the time. If I want to be vindictive and be spiteful and get back at my so-called
I can
sister,
do that too.
said, "Come on in here, come on up in here," and just really like it was just so sad. It was so sad to see her leave with that or be blamed because she wants and deserves more as a daughter, and you should want more as a mother, but you just don't. And then it's like, oh, baby, the way they was sucking them teeth, like, oh, she just pissed me off. She pissed me off. I'm so disappointed. What am I going to do with her? Oh, these kids are just killing me slowly. Like, not once for the film did Essie really acknowledge the role that she played to get her daughter here. She just kept excusing it. You should be grateful, because I'm sure she's been brought up to just be grateful. And it's like, well, no, I love the clash, like, generationally. I'm not, this isn't enough, but she didn't really acknowledge the role that she was playing. It's like, Joe, get here. She needs you. We need you now for real. Like, it's serious now. It's been serious. Y'all just waited until she was 20. Like, what is going on here? But it was, I was glad that it felt like before, the series end, that the daughter came around a little bit more into herself and realized that I don't have to choose this path just because you did. And even if I don't get my dad's validation and he claims me, I'm still a whole person, because baby mama and them wasn't going to give her nothing.
I really hope so. And we'll talk about the kids later, but child, I really, really hope so. Sarah, that's a heartbreaking case. But what I want to ask from you before we leave Essie fully, do you think that she thought that if she stayed good and compliant and loyal, that she would be rewarded? Like, I have to think she thought, outside of just being kept in the way that she had become accustomed, she had to think, like, in the long run, like, this will pay off. Because outside of that, Tyra, what would be her motivation? Because if I can be honest with you, I've met Essie's in real life, and I think that's why I can have a space for her. I've known women who have stayed with men who have had whole other wives and families in other states, and just got him on the weekend and lived like that for 20 years. Like, that's what they call, when the people say they've been married 50 years, but he had 2-3 different families and all of that. Like, there are real life women who have lived this life. Like, yeah, he keeps me in my little apartment. He pays these little bills. He comes through, once or twice a month, maybe once every couple months, lays it down. Maybe we had a couple of kids together, but one day, if the mess up at home, he has a place to come and lay his head, and I'm going to get my happily ever after? Or do you think she just knew that this was going to be the rest of her life and she was content with that?
I blame Joe Freak Nasty for all of this. The moment he broke out that little raggedy, tasteless ring, it's like, what, you want to be your second wife? It's like, yeah, you're going to be my second, but don't worry about it. I'm going to explain everything to Joyce. Like, everything's going to be cool. Like, this is just the status quo for right now. But eventually, if you live this life for so long, you become complacent, and it's just every day, even to just a certain point. And you, like, who's delusional enough to believe 20 years down the line, just hold on, I'm still working out things with Joy. Eventually, I'm going to tell her the truth, and I'm going to claim you, and everybody's going to know all around that you're my second wife. All the way down to, it's like, it took for him to get a second wife and claim her, for you to go, so you were never going to bring me and my children to the first. Girl, when? You would hope that someone wouldn't be that delusional. But I think from the moment she's just been comfortable with the status quo, because once we accept the role as second wife, and I think they're out baby shopping, and they run into Joyce, like, well, it's like, well, what are you doing here? Like, who is this? Like, this is my brother's wife. I'm out with her. And I'm like, and you knew what it was. And her discernment was just ticking, like, I'm not doing this. Like, get me out of here. This is not what you promised me. Then eventually, I think instantly he takes her to the house. And it's like, oh, well, just shut me up. Like, okay, like, well, you gave me something that I wanted. You gave me something that you promised. Fine. I can play nice and play who's the wiser in this house and with my BMW and my kids. But eventually, you're going to claim me. And we just keep doing this. And then all of a sudden, 20 years have gone by and you're still waiting with this man. Like, she really, really loved Joe Freak Nasty, girl.
Yeah. And y'all don't do that. If anybody's in this is a PSA. If anybody's in this situation, please don't do this. Please don't do this. They ain't never gonna leave that white. Like, just don't even put yourself in this position. Because I think you're right, Tyra. I think it was every moment you get a little uncomfortable. I'm gonna make a move. I'm gonna choose something. Let me pacify you. Let me give you this. This will shut you up for a few more years, and I'll keep you on the back burner for whenever I need you. Because listen, for Jonasi, enough was never, ever, ever gonna be enough for him. Let's get over here to Lindani, honey. Beautiful Lindani. Because, baby, when Lindani hit the screen, I said, oh, my gosh, she's gorgeous. Like, Lindani is so beautiful. Oh, also, and shout out to the actress who plays Essie, because apparently she is like a huge comedian in South Africa. And I want to acknowledge her name is Celeste Ntuli. Okay. And Lindani's given name in real life, the actress's name is Luyanda Zwane. So I just wanted to kind of give Essie a shout out because, honey, they say she's the life of the party, honey. She is known. All of these actors and actresses, for the most part, are renowned and quite prolific in their country. So now let's get over here to Lindani, honey, because this one traumatized me, Tyra, because I said there's no way. I said Jonasi got Essie, he got Matipa, bad as she wanna be, and he's got Joyce. There's no way we're going over here. Also, because Minzy, the son, was in love with Lindani from afar. Like, listen, little Minzy was such a simp, honey. He was whatever you like. That one time he tried to kiss her. She was like, boy, what are you do? She's like, yuck, Ty? Me with Ty? Like, it was like, okay. But eventually we get this backstory. You know, I'm dealing with an older man. Well, who's this older man? Because, you know, I'm your best friend. Jonasi's daughter is Lindani's best friend. Lindani has been at their home since the age of 8 years old. So much so, Joyce considers Lindani a daughter. At one point, she says, listen, you're my daughter. Like, your mom can't get here. I'm your mother today. We're at the hospital. I'm here for you. I've raised you. Like, you are a part of the family. She's there. I think we realized and understood throughout that Lindani came from a different type of household. Like, she liked, I think, being around the money. I think she liked what Mpume had. You could kind of see that in the friendship. It was like, let's have a party. No one's here at your house. Like, let's hang out. She was kind of the fun time girl. You got all of those things. But baby, when we got to this, you know, yeah, you drinking that yak over there. Have you ever tried this? Have you ever tried this EOS, you know, pink champagne lotion? Yeah, that good stock. Come on in here. Have a sip with me. Come sit with me. Oh, you've never had foie gras. You ever been to the mountains? Oh, I got a house out there, girl. What you need? And so we slowly kind of see the evolution of how he kind of corralled her, and it was with his status, it was with his influence, it was with his money, it's with things that she never had. Now, what I will say is Lindani had a lot of information that even Joyce didn't have, because her family bar, I believe, had to be in Soweto, because when Essie and Jonasi go out and they're getting their freak dance on, she's there serving, right? So it's like, you know who Jonasi is. You have an idea of who this man is as well. But again, she's a child. When I see you in secondary school uniform, makes me feel like you're a child, okay? And so we see him slowly make his move. He's rubbing on her booty cheeks. He's doing all of those things. I said, there's no way. Oh, God. There's no way, until finally he says, listen, I'm going to take you on this vacation, but you're not going to be a little girl there, right? You know what time it is. We're not going to do this cat and mouse. If I take you out here to the estate on the beach, that means I'm clapping them cheeks. You're getting cracked tonight. And she says, I understand. And the dynamic that we see is so hard to watch, because it is very much grooming. And there's also what appears to be an uncomfortability in Lindani for the most part. Until we get to a certain point, there's really this like timid, this shy, this whatever. But baby, you don't have nice things. Here, take my card. You ain't never had nothing. You want a 7-course meal, you know, at the finest restaurant. She goes back to her little village boyfriend, and he like, girl, no, I'm trying to live. I'm trying to eat today. No, I'm not thinking about a 7-course meal. I'm thinking about what are you asking me this for, right? And so we get into this affair drawn out. He's buying her crotchless draws and butt plugs and all manner of things that she's showing to Mpume. Girl, because you're a little girl unless you know what this is. This is grown woman status. Next thing we know, she's pregnant. She's losing the baby. And now she's entitled. And of course, we have a confrontation. And I'll get into that after this. But Tyra, talk to me about Lindani. What did you think of her character and how we ultimately get to, where it ends when she and Jonas? Did she ever stand a chance in his orbit, in his house?
Absolutely not. Like, I already knew. I kept waiting for them to go back to it because they allude pretty early, like once it's the party and he's like watching her body. I said, oh no. I said, no. Lord, don't you have enough? I said, no. So when we eventually make our way back around to it, I wasn't, so much surprised. It was his approach and how inclined he was. I said, okay, this is a man with a problem. This is a predator. Because I think typically when you see Essie and then you see Joyce and Matipa, and it seems like a man getting to a certain point who's wealthy, who for the same reason why I feel like you would try to excommunicado yourself from your first wife, Joyce, and that whole urge of like, well, I helped you, I built you to be who you are. Like, you don't want anyone who can reclaim, or even an Essie who's a reminder of who you were in the past, and you're elevating beyond that. You want someone to just revere who the man you are currently, that you build yourself up to be. And we go and seek out a Matipa, and we're seeking out youth. Joyce and Essie are women of a certain age, and he's trying to reclaiming my time. I'm trying to reclaim something, so I'm going to go over here. And then it just completely begins to kind of decline as far as his expectations and what he wants a new woman or wife or a prospect or whatever to be. Then it's like, well, I want someone new. I want someone younger. I want someone, attractive. Then I want someone a bit naive. I want someone who's not going to ask a whole lot of questions. I want someone who's just impressed by, just the meager things that I could offer, who doesn't demand much. Because eventually these wives, you're stacking them up. You're going to have to accommodate them all. And eventually it's just not going to be enough. But if you go and get, an 18-year-old, like, it's just like, oh, okay, this is perfect. No, mind you, she's been here and been around you since she was 8, regardless of the age. Like, she's been here. And then that just begs the question of at what point we saw at what point he noticed her, but I think it's left open to interpretation to decide, like, well, when was it? Have you been waiting? Were you like, what have you been doing exactly? Because you could have went out and you could have gotten anybody. You could have gotten 18, 19 or not. You could have went to anyone. You went to her. It suggests that you've been waiting. And that's sick. And that lends more into Jonasi's psyche, because eventually it's not just about you being a polygamist. You're a sex addict and you're predatory. You're a sick man. You need help. I was really hoping to delve more into Jonasi's childhood and his background and his relationship with his father. We didn't really explore a whole lot. But I say, yeah, something wrong with Jonasi. Something's wrong. So then when you get here with her, once again, playing on that property the same way we went over there with Essie. Girl, you ain't never had nothing. You ain't never been nowhere. And this is also, grooming what she's prioritizing in her relationships. Like, I don't have no little boy, regardless of who it is, my current boyfriend, ex, whomever. I don't want any of this. You could never provide for me with a man. Like, I want a way out. I want to get away. Don't you just ever think about, girl, no. We don't come from that. You go over there to them people's little house, living your best life, coming back here with all these dreams that just aren't going to happen. It's like, well, don't I deserve these things? Meanwhile, it's been Jonasi in her ear grooming and telling her, I can do this. We can go here. We can do that. But once we get into the conversation of, well, you know what it means, right? I'm not here to play no games. Like, I was like, ew. I was like, oh, girl, lock him up, put his ass away, lock him up. And it's the underwear, because if you get someone in the way that we could have Mtipa over there on the knees on a dime, it's like, well, it's only so far that I can push maybe an Essie or a Joyce and what they're willing to do and when and how they're willing to do it sexually. But with someone so young that I'm grooming, I can live out all my little sick fantasies, and I can break out the stops and the butt plugs and the whips and the chains and do this and be just as sick and depraved as I want to be. Like, But even though like this is just absolutely disgusting and it's grooming, predatory, it's sick. I like that it's also the new coming of a different kind of woman, a different kind of woman, young lady who's not going to just accept or be the Essie and be more so traditional. Yeah, I'm only here to a certain extent. And if and when you aren't providing those things, I'm not going to prioritize you. Like I'm not going to be at your beck and call. Baby, the way she read him them rights, by the time you need somebody in your corner? What? Don't call my name. I'm not doing that. I come from a different, a different time. And if it's not you, it's going to be another one. He's grooming her to be one way, but she's also grooming herself to be the baddest in the land. Baby, I'm a city girl. Why am I scamming? Where's the bag? If it's not about that, I really could give a damn about you emotionally. If you want this to be strictly sexual and transactional, that's what it's going to be. But the moment that you want more, I don't have to do that for you. I'm not sure. I'm not that.
You wife?
Like, yeah, I'm not wife. Let me roll your ass on over here to Joyce, because you thought like I like those aspects, but it was very unfortunate to see him target and go after her, and just the treatment. I just was like, every time I didn't think Jonasi could get worse, it just got worse.
It got worse. And y'all, another PSA, this is the problem with men who are undisciplined sexually, in my opinion. Jonasi is a representation, of course, of a degenerate predator. However, you'll find it a lot of men that are sexually insatiable. And I think nothing becomes taboo, or the more taboo something is, the more that they crave or want that. And I totally agree with you. I wouldn't run it past him that he'd been looking at that little girl since she was very little, because you had your eye on her, Jonasi, and enough is never enough for you. You got the baddest stable of broads you could possibly have, or you could get them, right? With the level of influence, status, money you seemingly have, there's no reason you would go in-house for this young girl.
I was thinking, was it also a situation of Jonasi? Because eventually there comes a moment where he's not only like combative with his son, like I think he had a problem with aging and just losing a little bit of agency, because everybody gets older, but you are at the aspect of kind of being in competition with your son, and I can get this secretly. I'm telling you these things in your face, and won't you go after that? Aren't you a man? Like, you need to do this. Isn't she? She's gorgeous, right? Meanwhile, you're on the back end doing, what you're doing, and it's like kind of a one-up situation. And we see what path the son goes down when he realizes how manipulative his own father is. But I think it was just very, very weird. I was like, we need some history on Jonasi.
Yeah. I mean, outside of his father, being an alcoholic, them being poor, them clearly coming from some level of abuse, because he talked about Magesh kind of always being his protector. Then when we met Essie, she was protecting him as well. So I can definitely see that he went through some things. But what I loved about what the author said about this was that she didn't want to center him. Like, as much as it's about him, it's really about the women and how they experienced him, and not so much about him needing to be justified, or for us to really understand why he was the way that he was, because his actions were enough. This was about the damage that he did to women, and not about his story, his background, his pain, his whatever. Would it have been nice just to round out the narrative, because we like that?
I want to see.
Absolutely,
because with the way that he reacted, even when we're getting more into the control and the abusive side, as far as Joyce is concerned, this was foreign to her. Or even we didn't hear anything from Essie of that sort. So it's like, for you to just flip like that, a lot of it felt like learned behavior and this, and even the way he treated his own brother. It was just quite odd. I was like, who are you, man? Who hurt you?
Yeah. And even in his relationships with men, and I don't have a slide for that, but I'm glad you pointed that out, because there was this need to be alpha in every connection or relationship. Like, every man that was in the room with him, it was like, I need to son you. I need to make you lower than I am in this moment. Even his son, because what did he tell his son? What's our rule? What's our rule, Magesh? Take her girl. Mr. Still your girl, apparently. But the fact that you would do that to your own son is crazy. But speaking of parenting in this, we have to look at Lindani's kind of upbringing. We have to think about, the conversation at one point with her mom, like, Mom, you taught me to be this way. You showed me how to pick out the rich men. You told me what to wear in the restaurant to get the most tips, to do all of those things. So we have that side of grooming as well. But then also, and again, Lindani was a child, in my opinion, but also she did have the ability to say no. So I don't want to take the onus off of her. I do believe she was manipulated. I think she was plied. I think she was bribed. I think all of those things, but he did not force her. So I do want to set that right there. This is completely, it's a morality issue. And like I said, he's a degenerate and a predator. But what I want to think about now or talk about is the confrontation that Joyce has with her after it all comes out. Because Joyce takes the full approach of, you a hoe on the street. At this point, I have nothing for you. When we just saw her be like, you're my daughter, you're my child. You've been here since you were 8 years old, all of those things. And I thought it was so telling how quickly that shifted for Joyce. So no longer are you that child anymore to me. Now you're my competition. Now you're a woman on your street. And she had no room to identify the fact that if Jonasi could manipulate these grown-ass women, 40-plus-year-old women out here, why do they think it would be hard for him to manipulate a 17, 18-year-old girl? Tyra, talk to me about that. And what did you think about the confrontation and the switch? Because at one point, Joyce was going to beat the brakes off Lindani, is what it looked like to me. Like, you want to, because Joyce liked to fight. Because when she slapped Matipa in the back of the head at that beauty shop, I said, okay, you got that action. But talk to me about that.
As if I didn't know where Joyce stood already. This put the stamp on it, because I was waiting. Matipa, or maybe even later on Essie. It's one thing, but this is a child. This is someone that you've seen as a child this entire time, and this is more about your weak-willed husband than anything. But Joyce is the stereotypical, I'm going to deal with a woman and not my husband because it's your fault. What did you do? You're probably teased. I mean, you walking around here and you're little, like, she's very that fast tail self, real bad. And the moment, it was immediate, like, what are you doing? Like, she had maybe this much smoke for Jonasi, and then we grabbed a belt. I said, Joyce. When she grabbed a belt and started beating her, like, now first I was trying not too hard not to identify, because if you're a child and I'm like your half of a half mother on a good day because you spend just as much time in my house as your own, I'm you might get this work for me too. not in defense of Jonasi or anything, but girl, ass whooping be damn. But just the way Joyce continued to center herself in her marriage. How could you? He's my husband. Like, girl, deal with your husband. It's just like so many other women. When you have your little philandering husband running around here throwing out D at everybody that wink at him, you want to deal with the woman and not your husband. Regardless of how disturbing and disgusting that this is, your husband owed you loyalty and to be faithful, to be true, to be all of these things that you guys promised at that altar. You would want, poor Lindani to owe you more because I practically raised you. I'm your, but the way y'all in here at Jonasi's back and call, anytime he cries wrong and y'all fall for that sympathy act every single time, what did you think he was over here doing to her? What do you think all that he had to do? Even down to the point, and she knew, like, you just lost a baby and she miscarried, and the whole, like, you knew all of these things that transpired. You knew if she miscarried, it was Jonasti's. None of that mattered when it came to her and her marriage and her house and her husband. Did she have the right to be angry and all of that? But no, you protect her. You guide her. You should. The way Lindani was so delusional, the way she's like, well, he's my man. He loves me. He's gonna leave. Like, she
made me something.
Nothing registered about that moment. Lindani was standing there like, so you gonna leave her now or later? Because he told me he loved me and we gonna be together. She was far gone. She was out in the atmosphere, and all she just could see there was an enemy or yet another woman that she has to put. Like, it's not even that. When she did that, I was like, there's no hope for Joy.
That's what I said. And I can kind of get it in the moment, but I was like, is there ever going to be a point where she's like, you're a child. I know what he did to you. Like, I know that this wasn't. And it was like, yeah, no, keep that same energy. It's what Cardi B say is forever. Like, that's what it was really giving with Joyce. And I was kind of disappointed in that, because I do think there's room. I don't know. I think Lindani kind of got the Cousin Faith edit here. But maybe Cousin Faith had a little bit of remorse on the back end, and Lindani kind of fully grew into it, owned it, and like you said, started living in delusion. Because inheritance, where did you think you was going to get a coin? Like, you really thought Jonasi was providing for you? You were leaving that man in his feces over there. You was screwing the man in the bed right beside. Like, it was crazy.
I love every moment of it, because you thought this way you needed Essie. You want a warm bosom. You would die for that blonde bosom to come scoop your ass up off the floor, right? You would die for Joyce to come rub your back and your feet and be at your beck and call, and oh, honey, it's gonna be okay. And Donnie could give a damn. She said, the sooner you die, the better.
The better. But I feel like I said, I feel for Lindani, because at the end of the day, she was a child and she wanted something different. He exposed her to a new life she hadn't seen or heard or ever thought was possible. And I guess she got comfortable in it. And the way it's looking, the way things ended, she might still be able to be a part of that life. Tyra, what do you think about? I mean, because Minzy walks in, she's giving Daddy top, and now. And now it's up and it's stuck, but at the funeral now Minzy's clapping her cheeks, and she's fully got the package. I'm sure the people said she's been seen taking the medication, so she's been infected as well. I guess she had no choice to, because Jonasi and her were still screwing after he got infected. She's maybe undetectable, taking her meds. What did you think of that?
I think what was understood did not have to be explained. At the moment that Lindani pulled up and everybody had the gonorrhea, it's like, well, it wasn't me. Well, who else are you sleeping with? It's like, well, we have, young Lindani here, and then we go over and just, she looks in the closet. We went over there with the package, okay? And I child, Mincy, you would think, I don't know. I was hoping, like, well, hopefully you're better than your dad and you at least strap up. I doubt he does. Like, there was not a condom in sight in this show. What protection? There was no condoms. Every 5 minutes somebody had the gonorrhea.
Pregnant.
We got pregnant. There was no condoms in sight. And for him to still, go down with the ship even in this moment with the mentality, because I think everybody was waiting for him to like break, or like, how are you dealing with it? Like, dad just died. Like, do you want to come? And then we up in here, giving the good word, saying our final goodbyes, and he over here hitting this thing that you couldn't stand in a bathroom. But we're perpetuating these cycles. And, my dad did the same thing to me. So even in his death, I'm picking up the same distasteful qualities. And with this one, I mean, you could have anybody. You could have anybody, but I don't want anybody. I want you, because you were one who didn't want me. Like, back then, it didn't want me.
Now I'm hot. You all on me.
All on me. But now I also kind of get the one up on my dad, even in death. I was like, oh, you poor thing. Like, just get the strap. Get the strap.
Yeah. Just a broken mess. But easing on over here to Matipa, the baddest. You hear me? The biggest, the baddest. Listen, because she's the Scarlet, honey. She's the Scarlet Letter, wearing the Scarlet Letter, living the Scarlet Letter. Again, a big butt and a smile. And she was a victim of her own playbook, in my opinion, Tyra, but not just her own playbook. She's a victim of the patriarchy. Like, let's be honest. She did what she thought what she needed to do to get ahead by whatever means necessary. And if I have to sleep with a man for a little bit of money because his daddy gone, you know what I mean? He ain't got a job now. Like, listen, I'm going to do what I need to do. So she constructs this plan that I'm going to get the richest, I'm I'm not going to say finest. I'm going to get the richest man that I can. All right. And he's going to do everything. Listen, Sdumo, the actor who plays Jonasi, is very well loved in South Africa. I'm sure he don't have a problem pulling not nary nobody ever. But I'm just saying. She said, I want the richest. She started with Magesh. Magesh was only the entry point. Because can I see your brother? When can I get in to see your brother? I'm trying to elevate my career. And I'm really trying to be that wife. Is what I'm really trying to be. I'm auditioning and interviewing to be a wife. So she presses her way in. She bends that thing over. Jonasi can't help his a big butt and a smile. That's all it takes. And she had both of those in spades. Immediately, their affair, hot and steamy, baby. You can take me on this desk. You can take me on this wall. You can take me wherever I need to be taken. Okay? So much so that you need to get rid of that old wife. He done moved in with Matipa at their second home. They're living their best life until Joyce burns it down and Joyce goes to jail. It's another story.
Joyce burns it down.
You know, they have this anniversary, sent Joyce the divorce papers. So again, this is Joyce's opportunity to get out of this situation. You have the divorce papers, sign them. I don't need you for the 20, F the brand deal. You know what I mean? I'll figure it out on my own. But Joyce says, listen, I built this life. I've built this life. I built these things. You're not going to stop messing with Matipa. She's plotted, planned, and schemed. We have come to fisticuffs and all of those things. So now, you know what? You're not going to act right. I need this brand deal. I built this. I'll just make her your second wife. It's part of the culture. We can do that. Jonasi said, huh? I can. You good with that? Like, that's cool with you? Bet. Let's do it. But I can't act right. And this is my thing. This is never a cure. And if you are in the Discord with us, if you're a part of the collective, you know that every Friday night we watch This Is Poly. One of the women on this show has exactly the same mentality. Like, my man is a degenerate scumlord, right? He screws and slings ding-a-ling all over the universe with his penile implant. So if I open the relationship up and say we can be poly, that's going to cure the cheating problem. That's not a thing. Like, they don't like rules or boundaries of any kind. You open it up to a poly situation where everything's above board, they're still gonna step out. That takes the thrill away, y'all. That takes the thrill away. And so anyway, Joyce thinks this is gonna be the answer to the problems. Matipa is fine. Listen, she pops up, she's pregnant with twins. Tyra, 2 times. And, you know, listen, I just had the baby. And this is where the cracks start, because as soon as she becomes the second wife, we start to see a friendship develop between Matipa and Joyce. So now it's like, oh, Joyce, now I see kind of a little bit where you were coming from. Jonasi is a mess. Like, he came over here. I just popped these babies out my cooter and he's trying to get some. Baby, you know, the doctor said, wait 6 weeks. He said, but that mouth work. She said, my mama's right here. I don't give a damn about your mama. Get on your knees, ho. I pay the bills around here.
Please.
Like, that's what he said, Tyra. He moved her head. He said, but your mouth work. Your mouth work. And so now she's becoming disenfranchised, right, about everything, and commiserating with Joyce. It's up to one point where she says, Jonasi, no. No, go get it from that other one. Because as soon as she finds out about Essie and then Lindani, because which one of you hoes gave me super gonorrhea, it was over for Jonasi and her. Until we get to the moment where Jonasi beats the brakes. Like, trigger warning, y'all. If y'all watched that episode, I could not believe it. He tossed her up. He punched her, kicked her, stopped her, beat the brakes. Her face looked like Martin in that episode where he's boxing. Matipa was toe up, right? He then goes home and beats the brakes off Joyce. So now they're really connected. So much so, Matipa says, listen, I know I begged, bartered, schemed, and tried to get your husband, girl, but now I don't want him. Listen, I can't have nothing to do with him. These babies, here's the note, the Dear John letter in their baby bag. I'm not leaving you no formula. I'm not leaving you no breast milk. I'm not leaving you no diapers, Joyce. I know you got it. I know you'll take care of these babies, but I need to find me a new married man. I need to find me some new prospects, and I'll come back eventually. So Matipa leaves, and, you know, no one's the wiser. It got too hot in the kitchen, baby. The thing that she had strived for was ultimately the thing that ran her off. All that glitters isn't gold, Tyra. Now, this is the one that I can say is a villain, but ultimately I felt bad for her too. The way he beat her, Tyra, I felt bad for Matipa ultimately, but she did knowingly, willingly go after a very publicly married man. What are your thoughts on Matipa, and what is she a victim of to you?
Matipa was the cautionary tale of them all, like the most potent one in my opinion, because Matipa showed up and said ass, legs, hips, body, youth, ooh. Like it looks good. She came in here with the master plan. I don't know why certain women like Matipa don't understand that they are a part of the escape. You're the vacation. The moment you're no longer the vacation and you're a wife, you need to be prioritized. You want more than just my time and a little money. You have expectations of me. You're nagging. Ugh. You're no better than what I was trying to get away from. The moment you become that and we want to get off this ride, we go. And she didn't fully understand the role that Joyce was playing in the marriage in the way that he was never going to let her go. As you know, as sick as he was, he took pride in like property and ownership, and I can have my way here, there, and over there, and all I can do is manipulate you, do this little quick thing, and you're back in my pocket. You were just supposed to be yet another one. We dangled that carrot that you was gonna be the onlyest one, and I'm gonna divorce her soon, and you're gonna just be my full focus. Look, as soon as I get that old Joyce out the way, it was never gonna be that. Oh, baby, the way Jonasi was playing that role, he let her really think, baby, the way she was showing up all brazen, red, ready. I'm here. I'm at the vow renewal. My cute ass. Yep. Oh, just wait. Because when he leaves you and it's all about me, girl, it was never going to be all about you. It was never going to be all about you. And then the same thing that you decided to prioritize to get your way and get into this relationship at all is the same thing that you got sick of. Because what that mouth, he said, what that mouth do, hoe. The moment he decided to treat you like a hoe, whore, real bad.
Real bad.
Well, wait, I'm a white. No. I didn't meet you like that. I didn't meet you like that. You came here with your legs open in your mouth. That's what I come here for. You want me to give you a break? You want me to, girl? You want me to help you rock some babies? Baby, Jonasi, I raised my kids. My kids down. My kids almost
your diaper.
Your diaper. Hold on, I came over here for a good time. Now it's like, goddamn, you got me hot up in here now. I come to you to get away from nagging Joyce when she's mad at me because Joyce is first. Then maybe you, maybe even Essie before you. I before E. It really just depends on how I'm feeling that day and who's opening them legs the quickest. Whose meal is the hottest? Let me taste that foo-foo. We just don't know. Okay, we don't know at this point. But she really just thought and believed in those pipe dreams of he's gonna leave her. And he got really close, and now you got that little carrot dangled. And then what I thought was interesting with Matipa was her mother wasn't one who was, you go after the gold. And she was like, no, you need to prioritize yourself. You're a beautiful woman. You could have anything you want, anybody you want, somebody who's going to prioritize you and just you. You don't have to settle being second or third wife. Like, baby, come on. But she decided to lead with her body instead of trying to I guess lead with her brains, because even when we have her, she's like, I'm gonna find me a new job, I'm gonna get out. She's like, well, do you qualify? She said, run me that resume. She said, you know what, I didn't really get that far. We didn't prioritize those things because she thought that her body was going to get her, or her sex or whatever was going to get her in the window. And when it did, and that's all that it wanted to be about, well, no, I want to be respected. I want to be prioritized like a wife. I want to be treated like a loving woman. That's not even where he met you. That's not even what you led with. You can get it on his desk. You can get it in a penthouse. You can get it wherever you want to get it, as long as you're taking care of me and giving me the life or the money. It's like, well, you got this little house, right? I'm taking care of you. Like you get your little stipend or whatever. You get your little allowance. Open your mouth. Say, oh my God. Say, oh my God. Then when we get to the aspect of like, oh, okay, you're not going to leave her. Joyce is open now to you having a second wife child when she realized she wasn't even second. Joyce is open to you having a second wife. Fine, I'm going to do that. That'll make us all just one big no. Now we have wife one, wife two, but you all are just wives. I need somewhere and somebody to exhaust all the energies when I don't have it for y'all. When y'all don't have it to open those legs or just prioritize me and be the center of attention. Now I need an additional new wife or new woman or new prospect or new, like this was an addict. I said, ain't you tired, Jonasi?
Girl.
You don't want no break. Haven't you had enough coochie, sir? He just was insatiable. And he was. He was. Then by the time we get to the relationship being exhausted, the smecks of it all, the kids, I just had that. And her wanting to like, oh, okay, I finally recognize exactly what this is. Bump the banter and then the fighting with Joyce, bump us coming closest together and having more understanding of what this really is and who he is. She's like, I really chose wrong. I really should have left you with your husband. I really don't want this. I said, girl, you got to be quicker than that. Baby, the way she was trying to transfer that money over and get out of town. She said, I'm trying to go. She was moving like Celia in The Color Purple. And he just popped up. I said, oh my God. I said, oh God.
You trying to steal from me? You trying to take my money?
From me? Oh my God. And we hadn't seen that for the most part. I was like, well, you know, this dusty polygamist, you know, he gonna hit all open legs, but he's not physically abusive. That's not something we've seen. When he hit her, I say, oh,
baby, he beat the brakes off her. I said, well, damn, Jonas.
I said, I gotta go. Oh my God. And I was like, oh my, I was like, well, why would you do that?
With all them hips, tossing her over.
All the legs, hips, and body. I said, girl, this is a man of a certain. I said, if you don't hit this, I wanted her. I kept waiting on him.
I mean, his hips, Tyra. He had really big hips too.
Yeah.
They're powerful as well.
I said, you gotta let him know who got the upper hand, Matipa. Girl, get up, Matipa. I couldn't believe that he beat her like that, and it was punishment. And he worded it as, "Oh, now we're up here. Now I gotta teach. Like this is something. This is something you've done this before.
Yeah,
I don't know who it was to, but." It was just like such a mess. I was like, who the hell is he that you can go from this to this?
Ike Turner.
Child, by the time that happens, I just wanted her to get away. I just wanted her to get away.
But take her babies, right?
Yeah,
but not your kids.
Once we're like planning to go and everybody's trying to tap into big bro. Like, can you help me? He cut me off? And can I once we center and we're prioritizing just the man and his wants and his needs and his desires and your sole dependence is on what he gives you. Now you're ass out. And then I was like, okay, well, she's gonna, take maybe what she could get and get her babies and get out of there. Yeah. When she left them kids with Joyce.
You got it. She said, you got it. I can't have anything to do with him anymore. She said, I can't have no connection to
my fear was when she was like, I need to go. Can you just, I was like, I hope she doesn't like self-harm or anything like that. I didn't know what she was going to do, but I did not think that she was intentionally leaving them kids. She said, yeah, I need to go. I'm like, so you didn't learn anything. You didn't learn anything.
She was going to go find somebody else's husband.
I was hoping another husband child. But it was like, yeah, I have to re-up, but I can't with my children. I'll come back for them though. I was like, girl, I felt really sorry for Matipa, but she so easily got herself there. And I don't think any of the women were really studying the strength in the heart of who Jonasi was. They just saw this mask and what he presented as, he's wealthy and he's nice and he gives me everything that I want. But it's a lot to be said about a man who would discount and dismiss his wife of however many years, his children, the way he's treating them. Like you soon come, you soon be treated the same way, if not worse. And when it was dished out, like I who could be mad at Matipa? I was like, I didn't want you to leave them damn kids with Joyce, but I didn't want you to stay in that situation either. Baby, she had to go. It was terrible.
Yeah, I think, and I think I don't know if they had to do it the way that they did to kind of humanize her at a certain point, because this is a woman who was not a dumb woman. She had some sort of business acumen of her own to even be able to, get into the company and kind of make her way, plot, plan, and scheme. But it also denotes kind of this level of research that she did before going here. So you knew that Joyce was a social media influencer in your country. You saw the life that she lived, and maybe even more, not as much about Jonas, but maybe more about, like you were talking about, the life that Joyce had. Like, I really want this, because it was like, I don't want to be your side piece. I want you to leave your family for me. Like, this is her full mission going into that. So immediately it was like, Matipa, you get what you get. But I think literally seeing the physicality of that situation and the fight, it really, and when you saw the aftermath, this was a shell of her former self, Tyra. This was not the same woman that we met before. I never thought he would do that to me. I never thought he would do that to me.
Bump that after she like knows everything how out, like Essie, you know, the hidden daughter, the whole, like, if he could treat his children that way, I'm not leaving my Joyce be damned. I'm not leaving my kids nowhere near there. I'm not, like, for you to go over there with the sister's bestie, you could discount and maybe treat that daughter like she was some step heifer off the street, like you didn't even know, because you're trying to keep her a secret. The way that you kept writing off your own children in house when you weren't physically putting your hands on them. I'm not leaving my damn kids here. Joyce isn't even protecting her own children. Like,
never has.
All right, girl.
I mean, because bar for bar. I mean, like I said, y'all hate Essie, but Joyce hasn't been an exceptional mother either. Like, just even having Jonas anywhere in your child's orbit, knowing the damage that he's inflicted. And I think at one point we have a conversation between, I think it's the afterglow in the anniversary, when, what am I going to tell the kids? Like, they've seen the ups and downs, and I promised them that I would not get back with you, and all of these things. And it's like all of these women put Jonas or something else ahead of their children. I don't know if Matipa ever had the full motherly instinct. I don't know how you leave your babies, period, whether with Jonas or so much so that you trusted Joyce or whatever. I don't know. The question I do have for you before we get off of Matipa, though, Tyra, what do you think that Joyce felt vindicated after what happened to her and that she left? Like, you wanted this, Matipa, like deep down the inside. That wasn't said, but I'm just, if knowing what we know about Joyce after all is said and done, do you think that was like a victory lap? Like, oh, girl, I told you it was hell. You wanted it.
I think a lot of it was a victory lap in the beginning, up until the point that he became physically abusive to the both of them. Because Joyce was very much so about control. The way she threw that down, she said domino, but she threw that domino down. She said, yeah, this is going to be an open situation. You're going to be wifey number 2. This is what you want. This is what it is, because I'm not going anywhere. This is my money, my man, and my mansion.
My mansion. Listen, okay. Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere. And she was like, I can manipulate it and control it this way. And it's like, well, yes. So what you're going to do is you're going to spend every, night here. You're going to always come home to me. You can see that little heifer on a weekend. Like, she thought she was chess. I'm moving these pieces. I'm still in control. I'm still in the fucking house.
I'm still in the house. All right, New York.
House. And it was fun up until a certain point when it's when they all begin to just get equal treatment and equal parts of the terrible, the good, bad, and terrible Jonasi. It's like, oh well, because Joyce thought, I'm the top. Whatever you're doing with him, that's just that. Whatever you're like, I think she would have thought that she would never get, to that point of him physically, because you couldn't tell me if you're that predatory, if you're that abusive. I thought grape was the next step. I said, everybody just run, get the hell out of here. I thought he was going to physically, because a lot of this wasn't just control and manipulation. When they didn't want to acquiesce to him sexually, he got angry. Yeah. And I was like, man, get out of here. I think it was cool until it wasn't, but then once it's like, okay, well, it's not one or the other. We are both victims right now.
Yeah,
so it was cute. A part of her in the beginning, she thought she was rolling dice.
Yeah. Now, ultimately, I think the kind of just desserts of it all is that when Matipa does appear, because I can come back for his funeral. I couldn't be back, when he was alive or see my children, but I'm coming with this new fine man who I pray was single. But also, the expectation that my twins are going to recognize me. How they were babies. Well, you don't.
Said his mommy.
You don't recognize mommy? Girl, go to hell, respectfully. Tyra, what did you think about that moment at the funeral where she's looking for this embrace and they're like, lady, I don't know you. You're not my mommy. Like,
weird. Just weird. I was like, what are you doing? Girl, go sit in the back and wait your turn. I was like, what is this? It made me I guess more alarming as far as additional parts of this. Like, are you gonna what does custody look like? Has Joyce like adopted them? Like what what is, you know, what is this? What Joyce is? Does she just want to relinquish her twins? Like, because you left them, you didn't think about them. I'm like, nothing about the situation gave. She was sending money, she was writing, she was letting her know this is where I'm standing in life, Joyce. Thank you. So it was like I left that raggedy duffel bag literally. In my tweets, and I just dipped because I needed to prioritize and save myself. You don't get to just roll up when you feel like it and you're well adjusted and, you know, taken care of financially, and, you know, my mama's here. So so what? No,
So,
I know. You're not my dad.
Now let's get on over here to Joyce, honey, because the queen, the grande dame, if you will, in her white. Because listen, this is the innocence of it all. This was the purity. This was the sanctity of marriage. This was the legitimate first marriage, first wife. I help you build J&J. Without my daddy's money in my name, Jonas, you wouldn't be half the man you are. We built this life together. We made these beautiful children, and God forbid we forget their young boy who, you know, whatever. He came and he went, and we never saw him again, the little baby boy they had just had. But we go down the rabbit hole with Joyce. Now, a lot of people on the upload in the comment section, Tyra, were like, she won.
She was.
Yes, Joyce, you did your biggest one, sister. Like you did that. You did that. And I really want us to sit down and have a conversation around that. But first, Tyra, let's do a little quick break. Remind the people while we're here and take a little bathroom break. We will be right back in 2 and 2. All right. Yo, girl. All right. So again, we're over here, and I do want, before we get off deep into her, Tyra, did you view her as the winner? Did you view her actions after all was said and done? Did you say, Joyce, you did that, girl, you got that get back, and that was excellent, like top tier, 10 out of 10? What are your thoughts on that? And people saying that, listen, she did what needed to be done. I'm here for the revenge arc of it all. Like, this is what these men deserve. Like, I want to know unbridled, unfiltered, your thoughts on that.
Girl, I mean, if Joyce won, what was it, a door prize? Like, what did she win? There are no winners. They're all losers in this situation. Now, was I gonna be here, period, for any just desserts that demon got? Absolutely. But there's a conversation to be had about what that does to Joyce and her psyche moving forward. Joyce, a part of Joyce did not give, you know, this is for all the women around America. It was never that. Joyce from the very beginning was for self. Always. And a lot of Joyce gave for good or for bad, if I can't have you, no one can. And I was like, Joyce, Joyce, I'm telling you, like I said with Essie, Joyce told me everything she needed to tell me about her when she didn't prioritize her own children, when she didn't feel the need to prioritize what's her name? Our young baby.
Lindani.
Yeah, Lindani. She is just self. Look at what this is doing to me. Look at what this is doing to my marriage. Look at what this is doing. Once it got to a point of Jonasi being completely irredeemable, then it's like a revenge plot set up by the man. Now I'm ready to take you down. It wasn't so much of everything else, because if that's the case, we would have been tried to get at him long before. It shouldn't have taken for him to become a literal demon to say, oh, okay, you know what? I got something for you. You should have been had something for him based off of how he treated you, dismissed you, based off how he abused you, abused your children, discount everything down. Like, it wasn't that. It was the fact that I want to win. Mm-hmm. I get to win because you took me through this. It wasn't a joint, all for all of us, or for me, because she was very adamant about, my kids and this is us. When we have those little backyard barbecues, I love you. Like, we're not going to let him steal our joy. This is us. I'm going to always prioritize. When did you prioritize them, Joyce? When did you? And the only time like Joyce's engine revved up and it's like, oh, I need some get back, or I need to attempt a 187, as she tried to so many times.
The rat poison.
I was like, how hard is it to kill a hermit crab? Damn, Joyce. It was when he got at her the most. And just as a mother, I'm sorry, I'm going to always expect, and I kept having to remember, you have 3 children. You have a fresh child. And it was never that. It was just always, how could you do this to me? How could you? Now I have to do this to you because you did this to me. And even if it was a notion of, okay, you went too far when you did that thing on the stairs, and you could have killed our son. You could have, or you tried this, or you beat, or you did, and she'll get right up into the point. Even if it was attempted murder, baby, you didn't follow through. Mm-hmm. You didn't follow through. And then we get to, just the ass end of it. It's like, okay, yeah, I gotta poison his ass. I gotta poison him because he did X, Y, and Z. It just kind of felt like a lot of it was self-preservation, of course, but you don't get to leave me after everything that I've given and suffered and endured. And yeah, I'm going to take you out. And a lot of it between the both of them became competition, because you would have Jonasi say, it's very like, in death, we can separate when we're dead. Mm-hmm. When I'm dead, then, there's a sense of freedom, but it wasn't at all like vindication for all the wrong that, no, you did this to me and now I'm doing this to you. We could have been great. We could have had a good life, Jonasi. If you would have just been satisfied with
act right.
Act right. If you had acted right, okay. But it was never that. You chose this, so throw the dirt on him.
Yeah. I sit with it, and it like comment sections will always reveal like the hearts of people and really how they feel and how they internalize content or media or whatever. And it's just so telling. And the old adage is 2 wrongs don't make it right, but it makes us even. I don't think there is getting even when you have all of these kids involved, when there are so many different lives that are bound by this. And I mean, I second your notion here on the idea that all of this was about Joyce. It didn't get real until it darkened her doorstep. And here's also what I want to put out there. Of all of the women that he was in relationship with, she was the one most suited to be independent and to leave him successfully and to still flourish and to still shine and to still have her social media influence her life and to do all of those things. Joyce wanted what she wanted on her terms, right? And because I've invested this, because now the public knows this is my life and this is my husband, what shame is this going to bring on my name? Like, this image that I've built will be ruined if you don't come and do this 20th anniversary. Like, I am the objective. Like, even when we see that scene where after they come out as if they're going to be polygamists and going according to the culture, and that woman comes up to her in the park, oh, my husband had been talking about this and I was saying no, but when I saw you, I said, yes, honey, we can do this because Joyce does this. Joyce had a voice. Joyce had resources. Joyce had all of those things. When those divorce papers come across my table, and he's given me out and righteous out because he's been adulterous all of these many times. Because this wasn't the first time Jonasi has moved out. The kid said he's done it again, Mom. Like, this is him doing it all over again. He has had a pattern of this. You could have at any moment removed yourself from this situation. But no, I have to save face. I have to protect my image. I have to do all of these things. Like the other women, I will say, I believe that she was also a victim. I think this was a part of conditioning. I think this is another one of those abusive type of relationships where I become indebted or so endeared to this man. I'm just hoping, because I have a vision of this life that I wanted. I want the mother and father and our babies here in the same house. But when you saw this man beat the brakes off your son, and your daughter have to jump in and all of that, and you didn't say, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine, Jonasi. I'm going to do this on my own, because at this point, you're not just a detriment to me, but you're harming my children. And what is my new son? What am I really regenerating here in my household by letting you stay? And that's the part that gets me. Outside of the revenge plot and the package and delivering that to his doorstep, the fact that you made your son complicit in your deception at the end. Here's son, I want you to pretend to love your father. You're going to warm up to him. You're going to do all of these things. You're going to pretend, knowing at this point, Minzy hates his father because you've taken my girl, right? I've seen what you've done to my mother. I've lived this incel type life. And now my mother is using me as a weapon to get back at you in death. How do you live with yourself? And I think
didn't she whisper over his grave, like, he will never
be like you. That's the monologue at the end. And I'm thinking, he is exactly his father. Now you aided and abetted your son becoming Jonasi. And I think that is the sickest thing of all. And that's why she can never be a victor, in my opinion, and how she goes from victim in my eyes to full on villain. Tyra, talk to me about it, and kind of this notion of, my son's going to be totally different and I'm justified in everything, while you were the woman who was in the best position to get free of this burden.
She was. I was like, I kept checking. I was like, Joyce, you're financially secure. Like, you come from means and money. And also, when y'all break it down, you have stock and stake in J&J. Like, it was all about image and perception for her. Part of Joyce was just like, I'm okay. Look, just don't embarrass me. Do whatever you're going to do. I care. It hurts. But if you come home to me, if it looks good on paper, if you're still at public engagements and events and it doesn't interfere with my brand deals and the things that I'm building for myself, or the things that I feel like I've put stock in all this time, I don't care. The moment it begins to show and you embarrass me and you're not prioritizing those things that have, made our marriage last this long, then it's an issue. Because Matipa was not the first or the last, honey. she definitely was not. Joyce, I felt really bad, and not just for the son, but also the daughter, because it was a lot of projecting and a lot of learned behavior, even with her mother in the house. It was very well, look at you. You need to do so. Like, I just gave birth. I just had a baby. Well, no wonder he has a wandering eye. Like, make sure, but it's also, the other devil on the shoulder of, well, baby, it might not be going the way. How about you prioritize? Let's get some offshore accounts. Let's get some funds. I know a lawyer. You can talk to some. No, he's going to come home. A lot of Joyce just didn't want to fail. I think the detriment that she felt at the aspect of, I've been here. Like, she wanted the door prize for time served. It's like, I did all of this. I've served. I put all these billable hours that I put in behind your ass. Like, I built you. I helped you all the way down from college on up, and I'm just supposed to leave it? Like I'm supposed to let some other woman pull? That's why she felt so threatened by Matipa. I'm supposed to let some other woman claim what it was all about her, just like Essie. Like children be damned.
Mm-hmm.
Your self-esteem, your livelihood, your body, who you are, like the way she just kept breaking down, like blow by blow, like mentally, like she was them screaming fits in the car. When she was tugging on that man, when Jonasi had to do the shaking move in front of the house. Don't leave me. You can don't leave me. Don't leave. He's like, all right, you're right. Let me. He's like, yeah, I can make my ass. He's like, I gotta go. I have to get out of here. I have to get away from you. Like it was. It really felt like she was just ashamed of having to wave that white flag, and just the idea of just the culture, and my marriage didn't succeed. My marriage failed to the public because it was, the high priestess and this person and the lawyer and this person, the upper echelon of our community is here. Everybody knows what's going on. Like, everybody knows. Yeah. Everybody knows that, Jonasi is laying it low and spreading it wide. And that's really when you got to see Joe come around more, because it's like, well, yeah, I'm here for J and J, meaning you and your wife. And it's like, well, I got to make sure I'm keeping all of them happy. Matipa, brings a whole lot, but she doesn't bring that. I do need Joyce, for that aspect. And then, of course, he comes around to realizing all the other things that he'll be missing out on if Joyce isn't in the picture, or his kids. But Joyce was just really, really sad. I did, because I kept waiting for Joyce to stand up, because she had every reason to. I'm like, you're not going to be left, destitute or without. You're not hanging on to him in that way. You're just hanging on to who he is as a man. And he offers nothing. He's such a terrible husband. He's just terrible. And it's like, well, I have to hold on to him because I want him. I put this work in. I did. And it's like, discount all of the other. For me, that came second to the way she kept projecting to the other women in his life. I was like, Joyce, what do you want from them? What do you want from expect girl? The way she was, she was mad at him. I mean, granted, Essie was like, girl, he don't want to be nagged. Did you cook him up a hot plate? Did you feed him? Like, the games that you're playing in my face and all of that, but not that one time did she not take into account he put all of these things in rotation, and it's just like, well, if I place the blame elsewhere, I can still live in my delusion. And until she, of course, couldn't do it anymore. But Joyce did not win anything. Did she play and wait the long game? And I'm going to set you up for the okie doke, and I'm going to get this woman in here to give you the package so I can yada 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 over your grave. But even down to that moment of being petty enough, you don't get to bury him. I do, my way. Like, girl, I was like, she said, get him out the casket, get him out the ground, lift his ass.
Ridiculous.
And it was just like everything had to be on her terms, at her time, and in her way, because even in death and just the punishment of it all, I get to subject you to that. I don't care. Like, I need to win. And it's like, if you're by the time that we get to those points, if you're as healed and as evolved as you're pretending to be amongst the community, and I'm a writer, and your children, you wouldn't need this. But the fact that you do says a lot about the future that you're going to lead. If this is the way you chose to, maybe the way I wouldn't have wanted nothing to do with, but naturally it's like, I suffered and I paid, and now I want you to suffer and pay too. I want to hurt you. Like, Jonasi created this monster.
I mean, I think a lot of things created the monster. I think parts of the culture create a monster. I think Mama created a monster. I think Jonasi created a monster, because at one point to her mom, she's like, I'm confused. I'm so confused. One minute you tell me if, I got to stop wearing sweats and comb my hair. The next minute you're saying, yeah, you funnel some money off because we don't know what he's going to do. So, get yourself together. And I try to think like, well, if this is what we're getting present day at 40 plus years old, how was Joyce raised? Right. Cause your father I wish I would have done X, Y, or Z. So what did Joyce see? Why is she holding on to this so desperately? And like a part of me gets it, because you do paint or have an idea in your mind of what this is going to be. And when somebody's selling you a dream and you build a life and family and kids and status and all of those things, I don't want the next person to be able to profiteer off this hard work. But at what point does it become about you? And at what point do you get healing? And at what point do you kind of take some responsibility that, hey, he was terrible and a demon for all these years, but also I decided to stay. Like I didn't run at the first sign of stormy weather. I stayed and I continued to stay, even though it went crazy. Even though when he brought the other, I gave him the idea of a second wife. Actually, he didn't even come up with that. I did, so that I could control the narrative and I could still be number one, right? Because she could be wife number two, and I can manage this and run that. But yeah, nobody's ever going to take the top spot. I think this was about pride. I think it was about ego. But I also have to consider that a lot of this had to do with how she was raised as well. But Joyce is a doozy, honey. Joyce is total doozy. Now let's get over to this man.
Ew.
The cake and eat it too archetype. And I remember this episode. I said, what is he eating off the floor? I was like,
that's some fingers in that cake. I said, you sick pervert.
Yuck. It was so nasty. But we get over here, and this is again the cake and eat it too archetype in my mind. And this is that person, because I don't think it's limited just to males. I think this could be a woman also. But this idea that I need to conquer, I need to conquest, I need to be able to have you and 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 whatever I want to quench whatever thirst I have. Like, I want you at home and keep it cute, and I'll keep you up. I'll pay the bills. That's easy. That's easy peasy work. But I want to be able to follow all of my predilections, all of my crazy, nasty whims. I want to be able to do all of that, and I don't want too much lip about it. You know what I mean? I want to be able to sin in peace and come home and eat you up too, girl. I want a smorgasbord. I want to eat all the South African cooter cat that I can possibly eat, and I don't want to hear no lip about it. At this point, everybody done forgot about his birthday in this specific thing, or didn't forget about it. But damn it, what are you doing over here? My man's coming over. Listen, Joyce said, no, I didn't plan anything. Yeah, sorry, Matipa, I can't spend the day with you because Joyce got something planned for me when I get home. Joyce said, who? What? What's today? Oh yeah, no, I ain't do nothing. So at this point, he gets this chocolate cake and he sits on the floor and he eats it with his literal hands and fingers. This speaks to the despicable nature of a Jonasi to me. But also, like you said, we go back. We meet young Jonas, clearly bullied, clearly had issues with his father, who they say was alcoholic, abusive, all of those things. The only somebody who loved him was his brother Magesh, and he treated Magesh like crap as well. I don't believe Jonasi knew what love was. I don't think Jonasi wanted to know what love was. I do. I think this was about conquest. I think this was about power. I think this was about control. I think it was about taking territory. For all intents and purposes, Jonasi was a colonizer. Tyra, talk to me about him, Joe Nasty, as you call him, and that cake and eat it too archetype. And have you met this type of person in real life?
Hell no. Let's stay clear. If you even giving me the vibe of a Jonasi, I'm out of here. Like, I have not, fortunately, ran across a Jonasi. I mean, via proxy, like, oh, you ever heard about, like, you hear these stories, but thankfully, I stay clear, and I have never encountered one of these individuals. Like, this is a scary man. This scene was, I said, is this a horror festival?
The light shifted. It was a total shift.
This is insidious. What is going on? This is dark. This is a demented psyche of a man. Like, he wanted to, he was either going to be hell on wheels for you or just the light of your life. It's no in between. Mm-hmm. And he works on a transactional basis. The moment you step out of the bounds as far as what I want you in whatever capacity, then you need to suffer. I was I was like, that's a pretty fine line. And what he seemed to want more than anything outside of just control, because even with the lifestyle, like I would think you would want to prioritize what you've worked so hard for, you know, the company, the way that things look. His sexual appetite trumped everything. Be damn. Could give a damn. I need to go where the legs are open and the vagina is hot. Where he said, where are the women? Where's the ass? I don't care. Like, this is I haven't encountered a man like this, but you hear about so many. I think it's really, really terrifying that someone could have such a lack of sexual control or discipline. Like, this is terrifying. And when you hear about men who I just run around and I sleep with this one and that one, I can't control them. Like, it's you know, comedic. And then when you see something like this here in the flesh, it's like, whoa, because then you get to see him inflict and subject. I keep forgetting her name.
Lindani.
You know, to something like that, because you begin to explore and have these urges and everything is just a vessel. Then it's like, well, what could, like, where does the line begin to be drawn? And what are you willing to do or enact on someone when that's not being fulfilled? It was very, very sick. I was like, this is spooky. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. And I really like how he could be just as demonic as this, and like behind closed doors you're one way, but with each and every wife they're subjected to like a different version of him. Most of them, for the most part, as long as they're, you know, acting accordingly, it's the nice version or whatever, however he's supposed to show up for them. And I'm going to tell you what you want to hear, do what you want me to do, buy what you want me to buy, and just be the best husband up until the point that you piss me off in any kind of way, that you object like in any kind of way. Then I'm going to go to this one. I need you to do this. Oh, you don't want to do it? Fine, I'm going to go to this one. And then we're just raking it in and racking it up. And you just would think like how exhausting that has to be. And it was like he was reveling in it.
Yeah.
I was like, aren't you tired? And you could be just the most demonic little thing, but you expect, well, we have brunch on Sundays. This is tradition. What the hell are you talking about, Joe Nasty? You are awful. Didn't you just beat the brakes off of me upstairs, but you want me to show up for this tired ass South African brisket or whatever the hell you were cooking? I don't want to do that. He too, that's where him and Joyce were kind of in alignment about, you know, visually how things look. And, you know, you always made my birthday special, and you always showed up for me in this way. And I'm going to be a demon, but when it's my birthday, you always celebrate me regardless. Like, bring in the trumpets. She's like, no, this isn't that. Don't you realize, like, he had no accountability for how anything he did affected others. As long as I said, like, this is the worst kind of individual that you could meet. I was like, run, everybody get the hell out of there. And the way that they were just clamoring to have a piece of him, as how, like, I was like, why would you want him? I was like, why would you want him? All the way down to the multiple, everybody's pregnant, everybody has gonorrhea, everybody. I was like, this is your man. I'm gonna stick beside him. This is your man. But it's just all about all Jonasi had to offer was financial security and status, maybe just because of who he is and what he built his reputation up to be, I guess. But that's all he had was money. He didn't have anything else to offer. Like, you don't have anything else. Like, you're not I guess conventionally, you're not the most attractive man in the world. You're not I mean, I don't know. Maybe the D was just I don't know. But
it gotta be the beefcake.
Just swinging beefcake apparently. But even with that, just as, you know, just being emotionally available, a good partner, a good husband, a good father, those things were just obsolete. And they just like, please don't leave me. Just come visit me one time, Big Daddy. I'll do anything you want me to do. I was like, ugh. Go ahead.
I was going to say, for some people, money's enough. Money could literally just be it. Money and status could be enough.
I mean, but as you can see, it's only enough for so long, because eventually you're going to want more for yourself and from your partner. And he's just not here to provide that. I only want to give you so much of myself. And I want you in every aspect. I want you emotionally. I want you sexually. I want everything of you. But you can only require so much of me. This does not a good relationship make. And then you can only require and give so much if you have 5 wives, Jonasi. Like, you're spreading yourself really, really thin. But for me, it was how no matter how tired the circumstances got, he still remained himself.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, you were going to be a demon forever. It took it, and then it was just you wanting to reject the modern drugs. If you would have like it, just think if he had, okay, sure, I'll take what I got to take and get healthy, baby. The way the package would have been spread across the city, because I'm hitting him in every single way, and the way he was like, "What, me? HIV? I can't get HIV. I'm Jonasi." I said, "What? Nigga, what you say? I can't. I'm invincible. I'm this like." Even in the way you could literally have Joyce like oh Joyce no self-harm in this house, baby, it's okay, I ain't going. Like, what you mean she was about to shoot you? Because it could never be me, it's gonna be you. Oh, I gotta watch her, I gotta take her. Oh, with the fact that he believed, she's like, yeah, you had a little heart attack. It's like a heart attack. You were poisoned, but he just felt like you could go on and you could do this forever, and they were all gonna just bend to his whim because they were for so long. I felt really disturbed by Jonasi, and I wanted every single woman to get out of his vicinity. The fact that we got to see him disintegrate down to nothing, and it was like, just like, well, we all got to go sometime. Go on, pack him up, nurse. Pack him up and put his ass in the ground. He lived life, he laid pipe and died. Put him away, because he needs to go. Like, it took that to slow you down, unfortunately, and then you want to have a rainbow moment about your family, and I can see the light, and you're 3 blinks away from death. That's what it took for you to try to rationalize yourself as a human being and as a brother and what you really need. That's crazy, and it's sick, and unfortunately, it's a lot of Jonases in the world.
There are, and I mean, I'm grateful you haven't come across a cake and eat it too archetype. I in fact have. I feel like with him, because like if you look at his relationship with Essie, for all intents and purposes, it seems like they actually genuinely had a friendship. Like out of all of the couples that you saw, or him with all of the other women, like they had fun together. You could tell there was like this element of like safety and home for him with Essie, as crazy as he is, right? With everyone else, it didn't seem like too much that they even liked him really, but they would get in that bed, honey. That's why I say it must amount to the beefcake and the money, because I'm really trying to figure out what was charming or charismatic about him, or what would have really lured someone in. For Matipa, we know that it was strictly the status and the money, because I'm just trying to get chose. With Essie, like I've been down from day one, so what it is, I think Joyce genuinely loved him probably when they first started, but also he's a bootstrapper and he's somebody who's ambitious. He's in alignment with what I want out of my life. I think there were things that tied into it. And then 20 years deep, is it that easy to walk away from someone? As far as Jonasi and the way he approached people, I found his character very interesting, because while he was a philanderer and a degenerate and a dingaling slinger, the biggest dingaling slinger in South Africa, there was a part of him that kept certain promises, especially when it was financial, especially when it was like, oh, babies are a blessing. Don't worry. It's fine, Lindani. No, we don't believe in taking out no baby. You have the baby. I'm big Papa. I'm Big Daddy. Knowing you have these kids that you barely attend to, and when you do, it seems as though it's mainly in anger and upset. Jonasi's an interesting, a very, very interesting character, and I hate to say that I've met one or two of him in my life, but I truly have. Not in relationship necessarily, but just that type of person who is fully selfish, who could give a damn about anything else but their own whims, desires, and what they want, and everybody else really be damned. I think this was the most fitting picture that represented him. Somebody commented about it. I found this picture today and I said, oh, this was the cake scene. Yeah, this is him. This embodies him in every aspect. I also thought it was so telling that Joyce knew he wouldn't get conventional treatment, that he would rather go to the village, that he would really go to cultural means to try to solve the problem rather than just taking a pill. Because clearly Lindani taking the pill. Now, is she detectable and transmitting? I don't know. But we know that Jonasi could have still been around slinging dingaling in South Africa, and Joyce knew what to do with him. But I think this is one of the top villains of the male species that I've seen in a very long time. A very long time.
it's always a bald-headed villain because Jonasi just reserve everything for women. Like he was also in like the competition with the man and the brother was interesting. Like for me to where he could just switch. It's like I'm just all powerful in every single way. And the moment that is challenged, even with Big Bruh, like when he put his ass out of that house, said, "You gotta go. You're not putting your hands on Joyce. Somebody, you're doing too much." He was like, "How dare you? Like, not you trying to stick up to me? I do all this. You know, I run this. I give you." And then instantly, you're fired. Your little key card not working and getting into this building. And at the same time, we're going to go grovel and I need you, bro. Like the audacity of Jonasi was just despicable.
I think people like this are dangerous when they come into money and power. Because it's like there's nothing off limits. I can whet every appetite. I can do whatever. And who's gonna check me, boo? Unless you find yourself in this situation, and her knowing he had no self-control was honestly the perfect setup. But now we get into the real, we already talked about Joyce's villain. We're not going to rehash that. But now we get into really who I think are the true victims with really no villainy. I can't hold these babies responsible at all. Jasmine, it's implied that Magesh has always covered for him. Since they were kids, he has been Jonasi's protector and willing to do whatever to protect his brother, because his brother was like the great black hope in Soweto, in their township. Like Jonasi was the one who made good, and so the brother's responsibility was to keep his life running as smoothly as possible, and in turn he could get the crumbs. Like, yeah, you can work at the company, you can get a salary, but you have to cover for me, you have to pretend to be married to Essie, you have to raise these kids like they're your own. You have to do all of that. That was my interpretation, Jasmine. I don't know if we ever got a full breakdown, but his pockets were padded.
I mean, his brother was another wife. He got the same treatment as the other wives, because it was, once again, well, it's just going to be temporary. I would never stifle your life like that, bro. You're going to eventually go out and, get your own family, your own wife. I wouldn't expect you to wait and cover for me for 20 years and pretend to be married to her. No. The moment he tried to step out, like, bro, I'm tired. Like, I just feel like, how dare you? You're going to do this. Look at everything I've done to you. Same thing with those women. I'm going to hold it against you, everything that I provided. And baby, there was a sick man.
Very sick. But again, back to these kids who I think are really, like I said, the true victims. And Mpume is the one I feel like is going to be all right. She going to be all right because she got the hell out. She said, all right, this is toxic as hell, mama. You a loser for being with this dude. Like, and at one point when we see her in her letter, because she wants to pour her heart out to her father just to communicate to him how he's made her feel. And he's like, yeah, just leave it on the thing. Turn the music up. Like, let me drown you out because I'm never going to be confronted about my behavior, let alone from my children. I think she saw it firsthand. She's like, we had to pick mommy off the floor when she was crying when you left the last time. Like, you've come out here. I've got, all the second wives, third wives, whatever. Auntie Essie isn't my auntie no more. My cousin Sarah is actually my sister. Like, I'm dealing with all of this and it's not normal. But ultimately, when we see her at the funeral, she has more grace and more empathy than any of the adults. And Pume says, listen, Sarah, come up here because you were his child as well. He didn't acknowledge you in life. I'm going to acknowledge you here. Like, this is enough. Enough is enough. Like, all of the fighting, because you can tell just by the spirit of Joyce at that final ceremony when she went and retrieved the body from Essie's traditional funeral and all of that, it's up in his stuck for life. Like, no, you get nothing. I'm not doing anything for you. Y'all are not really legitimate. That was my husband. You can tell that anger, that animus is still there. And Pume to me was represented grace, and she represented healing, which is what I think we needed in the show, because we really don't see that in anyone else's character at all at this point. But ultimately, she's the betrayed daddy's girl. She's the daughter who he said was his favorite. She was that girl. He supposedly loved her. But when called on the carpet and really to have a heart to heart, I was hoping in that moment we were going to see him really listen. But it was like, girl, get the hell out of my face. I'm not good to anyone, not even my favorite child. Tyra, talk to me about Mpume. What did you think about her response to all of this? And is she going to be all right?
girl, I was with Mpume. Mpume say, you can stay here if you want. I'm getting the hell out of here, mom. I can't be around this. No, just wait. He's gonna come up. Like, no. Just because you accepted it, and Mpume represented breaking the cycle. She said, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
And I'm getting away from this because this isn't okay. Especially for so long. She just registered her mom. And she's like, she's just weak. She's weak. It takes, a certain kind of strength to register that nobody can protect me but me, not even my own mother. Like I have to go if I'm gonna survive this and really elevate myself to know that I don't have to accept this no matter. Like I don't have to accept him treating us this way and throughout those breadcrumbs. And oh my God, he came home, like he chose us and he's back. And we're just supposed to throw a freaking parade. I don't have to do that. I did like how they gave her a lot of dimension, not just with the situation with her friend. Because girl, I will slap you in this house. Like now, if anybody wants to slap her, Joyce, you go over there. Bestie, I'm going to slap you because how sister, no, like, especially when we got all the way down to her living in the big house. She said, yeah, just get this little stuff and get out of my shit. Your house? Really? I like that we gave her dimension to know that she wasn't going to walk away completely unscathed, because as much as she could just not stand her father or especially her mother in that weakness, she also was projecting her mother in that superiority complex of like, if you're wronged and I'm not gonna do this with my father. Like I have all the hatred in my world for my father, but I can also feel like I can judge and chastise you, especially as my sister, or just that lack of understanding or a window to know that your sister or even, your ex-best friend, they're victims. They're victims of your father, but she sees them as something that was standing in the way or something that impelled on this perfect family. You hear them, keep saying, can't we just go back to how I was before? I miss how it was before. Really, she felt like she was gonna hold on to that grudge to the very end. I didn't know we were going when she told the sister, when Sarah was like, oh, okay. Finally somebody acknowledged me. Poor Sarah. And it was like, I thought she was going to take that spirit of non-forgiveness, that joy spirit was going to be on her back and on her neck to the grave. But it was like, no, you know what? I do have to break the cycle and acknowledge my father for who he was, but also acknowledge all of my siblings, and that we're a product of this and we're all victims, not just, something that messed up the family. I'm glad that we made that full circle, because I didn't know if she was gonna make it. She hated. I hate your stinking guts, Sarah. She hated Sarah, really, really bad. And I was really happy for this, and she could acknowledge that my dad was my dad, but he is far from perfect.
Absolutely. Sarah went to bobbing and weaving on her first love, the man she was about to get that coot name to. When she told Sarah, I'm about to give him some, Sarah said, not on my watch. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to F that up. Because, somebody got to pay for how I'm feeling. I loved Mpume's character. I liked her arc. I like to see. Now we shall see if we do get a season 2, which we need to. Like we need that. Like the culture needs that. I'll be interested to see. I really think when it came down to it, I really think she was Jonasi's favorite because of her accomplishments. Like at one point we get into how she's this scholar and she's been accepted here and she's going places and she's going to be working for the company because she's my spitting image. She's going to take over. I think he liked what she represented to the world, not so much who she was, because I don't think he knew who she was.
It's a typical Jonasi, father-daughter situation. Like he would hate for you hate for your daughter to meet. He would never want her to be subjected to a man like him. She's going to be strong-minded and she's going to elevate and she's not weak-willed, not like my son. She's strong and she's a chip off the old block. Like if anybody was to try to subject her to the same treatment that he was running around here perpetuating, he would die. Because it's very like all the other hoes be damned, not my daughter. It was very that. But it felt like he was affected the most when she didn't just receive him with open arms and grace and favor. Like, not you, Mincy, go over there, but not my baby girl. It's like, asshole.
Lord have mercy. Now we get over here, and we've kind of already touched on her.
Oh,
But our baby Sarah was so broken and so in delusion and so angry, justifiably. But why do I have to be the sacred? I'm just as good. I'm just as smart. I'm just as special. I'm just as much his child as Mpume is, and I get nothing. I get no acknowledgement. I can't work for the company. This man won't even have lunch with me. When she was sitting there at that table, yes, for two,
Yes.
table for two. My dad's coming. Like, my dad's coming. And we see her juice go from, and I'm like, oh, that man ain't coming, sister, get up. And then we have to go, like, here's our picture, Dad, so you can have it up in your office. Get there. Where's the picture I gave you? Like, talk to my secretary. She'll put me on the schedule. I already did, and she put me on the schedule. You didn't make it to our, to our meeting. And again, just the fact that she just wanted to be covered and she just wanted to be known and she just wanted to be acknowledged was so heartbreaking. And then also on the other side of that, we see her make a litany just of terrible choices and terrible decisions because I'm not being chosen. I'm watching my mom never be chose. I'm watching me live my life as a secret. My brother's a drunk. My cousin has the life. My cousin's sister has the life that I feel like I deserve. So let me kiss my Uncle Daddy in the mouth and, try to figure out the rest of my life. But ultimately, I think that funeral acknowledgement will do something for her. But is she fully healed? I don't know. Is she on the road to healing, baby? I don't know. It gives Sarah gonna be hell in the paint unless there is divine intervention. Tyra, talk to me about Sarah, the secret.
Sarah in for a long, hard life. Sarah's life is going to be hard. Girl, Sarah said, I'm going on a date with Lisa. I have a date with my father. Finally, she was so happy. She's like, oh, everything's out now. Just to see the torment and the torture on Sarah's face every single time she had to go over there and pretend. And it's like, I've been trained to be so tight-lipped and in fear of anybody finding out who I am. I was like, this poor baby. I felt so sorry for her because she was just so excited at the aspect of not even because Uncle Daddy was there, but it seems like to a certain point she kept him at arm's length because you're not my actual dad. So it's nice, but I don't want to receive that from you. I'm going to just always sit and wait around for Jonasi to realize that I'm here. And she was trained to think that eventually he's going to claim us. He's going to come out. We just wait a little longer. Once he closes this one deal, but it really tipped the scales in her behavior once the second wife came along and there's twins and you're claiming them and you're out in the open in pictures and your Facebook and what? So you're never going to be out in the open with me or claim me or my mom. And then we just see her sexual prowess just get really just a reckless abandonment of that. Because that's what I'm seeing be prioritized with my mother anyway. That's what I'm seeing her lead with. So let me lead with that too. Let me be, let me get my scarlet on. Let me do this. Let me hurt you because sister or not, are you really my sister? You represent every single thing that I'm not receiving. So there's this natural growing hatred. I felt really, really bad for Sarah. And I do not feel like once they went to see the doctor in town and he was like, I feel the spirit. I feel it on you. That man is never going to acknowledge you.
Never.
Let it go, baby. Like, and it was just like, my mom definitely waited too long to try to put stock in her, and like we could choose ourselves, and even down to the wire. Hell, she was, can I give him some soup? Can I go in the house? They won't even let me down in the house. They won't let me see him. Like, you're missing, Mom. You're still prioritizing him, Mom. You're still, and I don't think that little, brief acknowledgement. We do have her following, like, can you forgive me, sister? I'm sorry. Like, and of course she's not trying to hear it to a certain point. So the baby, when Essie drugged them chairs all the way up to the front,
you're gonna make room for me.
Drug them damn seating chairs all the way up to the front of the aisle because I'm gonna sit on the front row. And it's like, I'm finally acknowledged, but I think the fact that he never acknowledged her at all the way down to in death, like I never got that from him. I think that's going to follow her. And I don't think she's going to be okay. I think it's all going to be bad. I was glad to see that she got a space, at the company, but I would want her to find herself and her identity outside of the family entirely. But even that, just the idea of we have to be here for dad and we have to save the company. Dad was dead. He's terrible, because you see her and Mincy have more of a relationship than her and the sister. And it's like, well, she's just kind of taking pride in that. But I don't think that's going to be enough. At this point, if she hasn't had a ram to kind of find her independence and her identity and her self-worth outside of her mother and that family and that mess, and the way she hopped up there, like she was this girl, this is sad. It's gonna be hell. I hate to see what a season 2, Sarah looks like, and how she prioritizes man and her expectations in her life. I think it's going to be low hanging fruit. The pit is going to be bad.
So sad for Sarah. I'm praying for Miss Sarah. Now, Miss Anonymous, thank you so much for the 200 sunshine jewels. We appreciate you so much. And thank you, just Ashley S., who has been riding with us since the start of this 2-hour and 21-minute live. We appreciate you, sister. My namesake. Thank you so much for the 100 jewels high five. All right. I saw those and I did not want to let it go by, and I didn't want to miss it. Now let's get over to the son, honey. The son who became the sequel. Because when he told that big booty hoe, get the hell out of here, B, I said, all right, man, this is not Menzies. Yesterday is not Menzie today. He is at the strip club with the real ones, honey. When I say that those were the most natural, big, beautiful bodies I've seen on TV in a long time, I said, all right then. But when he told that big booty, listen, he said, get the out of here. He got the one girl in the office bathroom screwing her in a broom closet like she's a whore or something. I said, Menzie, sir, where are we at? And again, we set out on this dark path. Once he sees the love of his life, Lindani, bobbing and weaving on his daddy in the strip club that cousin Freedom took him to. At that point, his trajectory completely changes. He does pretend on his mother's orders to be close to his father on the deathbed. They commiserate. You're the son I always wanted, Menzie. For that reason, you will be my sole heir. I'm leaving everything to you. And of course, Joyce saying, my son will never be like Menzie. Mind you, Menzie's cracking Lindani in the funeral service, because listen, I am my father's son. And it's sick and twisted. Menzie at the start of the series had such a sweet, kind spirit. You could tell he wanted to be the protector, but he was a little bit weak. He didn't know who he was. It was like he was trying to find his footing in his manhood. And I feel like those years are pivotal, especially for teenage boys. Like, it kind of sets the trajectory of your life and the person that you're going to be. And when you have terrible role models and are put in these terrible situations, it can really alter the person that you were meant to be. I don't believe Menzie was meant to be this person that we have at the end of the season telling hoes to get the hell out, screwing people in broom closets and cracking his daddy's jump off. Like, I really feel for Menzie, and I fear Joyce aided in creating a monster. Is Menzie even going to give her any of this inheritance that he now has? He's the sole heir to, and it's his discretion on who gets what. Tyra, were you disappointed in his character arc? Was it predictable to you? And where does he go from here if we get a season 2?
At a certain point, I knew it was coming because he was so obsessive. Because at first I was like, oh, it's an innocent crush. Like, it's natural. Like, they've grown up together, and I want you to see me more than just, my sister's, little brother. Like, I'm here too. Like, I see you, girl. And it's just, eventually it became the expectation and kind of not mirroring Jonasi. But there is this, I'm going to lead with niceness and money, and, I'm kind. And he almost felt like you're supposed to like me because I'm a good guy. It's like, well, wasn't I nice to you? I'm kind to you every time. Like, it's like, I could provide, eventually.
Doing everything, right?
Like, I'm the nice guy. Like, nice guy should finish first, right? Like, I bought you this drink, right? Like, no. It was very like, so then by the time that it's like, I'm nice up until the point that what I'm projecting to you isn't given back to me. And then you see him kind of slip a little further. And then, of course, you have daddy over there turning the words. Aren't you a man? You're a man, right? You're a man? You're weak? Oh, you bastard. Like, all right. projecting, I'm sure, what was thrown on him when he was young. And we had him like when he was the only one, like he was like, hey, Matipa, open that door. I came to see the twins. I was like, and she was like, you show familiar. Yeah, I go visit them, every now and again. I've been over there. This one's that one, and this is her pacifier, and that's, can you tell them apart? Because I can. Like, it was all of that. But once you're not only discovering, because you could only imagine, this is just, just a glimpse into their lives, but you could tell, like, through the upbringing, there's an expectation of this is what a man is supposed to look like, and this is what you're supposed to project, and this is why I'm going to prioritize your sister over you because you've always been weak. And we get to like the most like formidable times of shaping, who he is as a man and his psyche. And so much of it, as far as manhood, is led with just the money you can earn, your earning potential, the power potential, and what your manhood looks like, and who you have, or the women that you're surrounding yourself with. Even when you get into freedom, and you're supposed to be out here with the men, and you're supposed to be, I'm supposed to be, and there's an expectation for me to do these things. So it's best that I can project it. Who I'm learning and seeing it the most from is my own tired ass father. And even though we could be there and see what it's doing to the women, and even Mtipa, the twins, my own mother, my sister, I'm perpetuating it. Like it was only a matter of time for it to be learned behavior, because by the time he kisses her and she rejects it and he like grabs her like, you're supposed to, I'm like, I don't owe you nothing. I don't, regardless of, your innocent crush, regardless of, the sick, twisted dynamic with the father, she's not indebted to you just because you're a crush. She's not property. But look at daddy over there. All of y'all work for Jonasi as far as he's concerned. But once that started to happen and we see him get a little bit more risque with the behavior and the whole thing, I think the physical abuse from Jonasi took it all the way up a notch. Like, oh, okay. Once he realized, like, even in the way that I want to protect my own mother and my sister, I can't even do that physically. So maybe I need to get more, psychological like my dad and be manipulative in that way. And then eventually, it just gets tired. Would you have wanted Mincy to be different and make a different decision? But a different decision is that moment where like they're constantly, you can tell like this is normal behavior, that they're always arguing, and he's in his room and I'm just going to put the headphones on. This is normal. This is just what we do here and how we've grown up. And I think it would have made a difference if Joyce chose them and took them. I'm not going to subject my children to this. It was just like, this is acceptable behavior. We're just supposed to endure it. And well, once I get whomever I'm going to get, they're just supposed to endure it because I'm inheriting this company and this money. I'm the provider, right? It's just the whole sorry system. And he's going to be the same way. Once he rolled up and he said, hey, badass yellow bone, let's go in his closet, girl. I say, oh, Mincy. Yellow bone. I say, oh, we got to go. I say, it's over. It's over. Once that happened, I say, he's done for. When he had that heart attack, because she was, give me head time. Oh, I can't breathe. Lord Jesus, why, Lord Jesus?
That's what he said.
Mincy died. Mincy died in that stroke. He said, oh, God, Jesus, no, Lord Jesus, why, Lord? She said, why did it have to be him? Jesus, take me with you, Lord. Like, oh, I say, Mincy, get up. After that, he said, okay, it's up. This is sick. So a part of him wasn't just perpetuating cycles when he's sleeping with her at the end during the funeral. It was more of, I got you. I got you. She didn't want me. It Revenge. Was, I'm accomplished. Like I got, and even though like he was disturbed, he was like disgusted, like my dad, like that's sick. How could you? Like, ugh. But when it's presented, I got you, right? I just like, oh, I don't want to see no part 2 of Jonasi. I don't want to see it. Nancy, I think there may be hope, because I'm hoping that if even in the bouts of that, he took the time to kind of confirm what he could with Sarah. Like he mentioned you, he wanted, he ain't mentioned it. He mentioned you, he wanted you to be okay. He wanted me to make sure that you was set up financially. But so if you have compassion, there's a little room. It's still financial, still money. But if you have that enough to want to give her some closure, maybe there's still room at the cross for Mincy to go a different direction. But it ain't looking good from their bathroom.
Let's keep hope alive, child. I don't know. It was just so hard to see him just devolve into this. I'm like, oh my God. And honestly, that is probably the truest representation of his father in that idea of I conquered you. Like I did that conquest because that's been his father's whole MO throughout this entire thing. And I just devastating. I hope he don't get sick though. I'm like, what are you doing, Minzy? And you know what it is. So now I think the biggest thing and a lot of the conversation that I've seen in these online streets has been around, you know, the polygamist isn't really about polygamy because this is not our version of polygamy. We South Africans, polygamy is part of the culture, and this wasn't polygamy. This was something totally different. And the author actually has stated the same thing, that this really isn't polygamy coming from, and this isn't based on a true story. I know a lot of people were thinking that this was based on a Zimbabwean politician or a South African politician or someone that, you know, has been known to be a polygamist. And she said she wanted this to start a conversation around people using the guise of polygamy, basically just to justify their immoral deeds and wants and desires and, you know, all of those things. And so I want to know from you, Tyra, did you view this as a story about polygamy? And what is your stance on, what do they call it, ethical non-monogamy or polygamy in upfront practice, like transparency?
Well, it's not for me. Not there. Not for me personally, but you know, to each his own. I kind of reject the conversation around, well, this isn't polygamy. Yes, it is. This is a part of the culture of polygamy. I think two things can exist at the same time. A lot of people want to disregard and discount this conversation because it's the worst side of polygamy. But that doesn't mean that it's not happening. And people don't, of course, you know, use this to validate their own hunches. But let's not act like every single person who is practicing polygamy is righteous and forthcoming and this and that. And everybody's happening there. The dynamic when we all have land and, you know, good night, John boy, we all share. It's just all great. Sometimes it's not. I think that both of these identities as far as polygamy need to be shared so that people know what it is and what it isn't. This is the worst, you know, outcome of course of polygamy, because we're not really vocally upfront about what we're doing and why, and us wanting to even be a polygamist in the first place. But at the same time, there can still be someone just as open about, I'm a polygamist and this is what it is, and your wife and this, and still treat you the exact same way that Jonasi is treating these women. So I think it gives a wide scope of it. And even if it is, you know, more so with this being a South African situation, baby, the way that polygamy is spreading as the norm, it's all, you know, out loud and all outside. It's not just something so much centered now, or like, oh, it's becoming a really massive part of the culture, and it's a choice. But I think it's nice to have something like this to show dimension, you know, whether it is what's so great about it or what I know now what not to look for when I'm seeking out polygamy with anybody, because worst case scenario, you might meet a Jonasi.
Worst case scenario. I think it's really interesting how it's evolved, I guess, this idea of polygamy and how it's made its way back into the mainstream. Even in the States, polygamy has been practiced in a lot of Muslim, like we see it a lot, like you hear about it from like Mormon fundamentalists and things like that, the Watts in Utah and Idaho and such. But polygamy on the low has been going down in Muslim practices and households, but then also in other kind of cultic circles in the Black community. It's kind of hush, but if you know, it's not a new thing. And a lot of times, I think how they positioned it in olden days was you do want to create legacy, and it was about nation building, and it's about working the land. And if I can acquire these wives, I can have more labor force because they can have more kids, and I can, you know, expand my name greatly, and it's honor, and it's all of those things. But again, a practice being that everybody knows up front, you consent to it up front, and you kind of know what your life is going to be. Versus now, I just want a sling dingaling, but I also want the benefit of marriage, right? Yeah. And so I'm not even necessarily going to be a full provider, right? Like we see on This Is Poly, y'all all got to have jobs, but I can get my rocks off with multiple women. We can all kind of split these bills down the middle, and we can call it polygamy, but is it really the true essence of what polygamy was supposed to be?
You in the back? No, it's not. I really hate that aspect gets lost. And I want to be a polygamist. And are you a provider? I think the idea of the building part and being a nurturer and a provider and knowing the weight that it takes to be a part of a polygamy community, like that gets lost upon you. You procreating and I must go forth and spread my seed, whatever. You're doing that, and it's like, well, yeah, the aspect of you getting this choice of a lifestyle, but still the women are expected to work and also provide and contribute and bear the weight. I'm like, where it has said that at? Where did it say that? Because I thought the benefits of being a polygamist is that you get all of the traditional roles or that placate you having these women and the children, if that's what you're choosing to do, or just all the way down to just the romantic part, the sexual part, the emotional vulnerability, and the choice to go and flow is because we're being taken care of.
Yeah.
So it's like, if we're not being taken care of, what's so great about it?
Yeah. What is it doing?
Oh, it's work. It's work. And I don't know, as far as all the work,
labor. Free labor.
As far as all the work it would take to even, because I'm sure, y'all see those shows where we have to work out a schedule and who gets what time and where and this and the kids and who work in the breakdown of the food and the that and that. Like, it takes a whole lot. If you have to do all of that on top of financially providing, maybe this is the factory. I'm getting the hell out of here. This is a job. I ain't signing for that.
Yeah. So I think that's been an interesting conversation around it. And again, some traditional people don't consider what Jonasi did as true polygamy, but just kind of an umbrella to capture what he wanted to do, his own little individual desires. And like I said, the author talks about her grandfather being a polygamist, and kind of when she went to work in the big city, working in corporate, she saw how the people there, the rich men, had their cake and were eating it too. They had their wives and they were whatever, and they would put it under this umbrella, but it was under deception and all of those things. So very interesting conversation, very interesting topic around that. And then here are just some little rapid fire questions to go ahead and end the live. I want to know from you, Tyra, and one word answers or as short and sweet as you want them to be. Would Joyce have ever left if he never put his hands on her?
Unfortunately, I think she would have endured a bit longer. I can't attest to. It felt like that was just the tipping point, and it's like, oh, this is because she was so accustomed to the enduring and the cheating and all of those things, or even just the emotional abuse. I think the physical abuse was just a tad step too far. And as long as she was going on, I don't think, because I thought the tipping point would have been Essie in the how many years, and she was even then it was like, well, you know what, this is what fine. I'm not happy about it. I'm embarrassed as hell per usual. So it feels like she was gonna stay.
Okay. Next, Essie or Joyce? Who wasted more years?
Essie. Essie going on down to this day, going to put flowers every Sunday. She go put fresh flowers on Jonasi's gravesite. She that's her man. She doesn't know anything outside of that. Joyce had even before he rolled his ass up to the book sign. I said, if you don't get, he's like, oh, didn't you hear me? I was like, oh, get him out of here, falling apart. even then, you know, those moments she was still trying to prioritize his needs and his wants. She gonna love and miss that man forever. And she was there from the very beginning, protecting him, shielding his body, you know, down and at the playground and whatnot. So definitely Essie. Definitely Essie.
That's what she was. Is Magesh a victim too, or a co-conspirator? He hid Essie for decades.
It gave co-conspirator for quite some time, but once he just became a sister wife, I was like, well, damn. it felt like he was just in, like, even down to when he was at his weakest and he was the illest, and it was like, you know, you need this money, Marcus. It's like, well, actually, I'm okay. I'm living my life. I'm good. I don't need that. And then he go and get the kids, and do you see where he came from? And this is all you got to think about. Like, he was just as encapsulated as the women. Like, I'm gonna go with victim. Unfortunately, I'm in the middle.
Thank you so much, Roses. But good to see you, sis. Thank you for the $10 super chat. Thank you, ladies, for covering this question. What does this show have that Tyler Perry is missing? I'll go first because I really, really feel like, and we've talked about this before on numerous occasions, Tyler Perry always writes his women a certain way. They're very one note. They're very just ready for punishment in most of his storylines. I don't want to say Tyler Perry doesn't understand women, but I don't. I think that there's a blockage or issue when he writes the female characters in his stories. And I feel like Sue had a great take on each of these women because I feel like they were all so complex. Like, I don't feel like any of them were one note. Like, we understood motivations, but we could also sit with the idea of what created those motivations, how they got from point A to point B. In Tyler Perry stories, they're either victims or they're predators, or, you know what I mean? There's not really a ton of in between, in my opinion. And then as far as we can get into just narratively speaking, the ability to kind of knit a yarn that's cohesive and has continuity and does all of that. I think this was just well done. Tyra.
There have been many of projects where, well, it's like, Tyler didn't have enough time. Like, no, you will get the same 20 episodes and the pacing, because we don't know how to write cohesively enough to move from point A to point B in a 20 episodic series and really keep momentum up. It's so slow, and so it's nauseating to the point that you're like, oh my God, I didn't feel the need to fast forward or like time is being wasted, or it was very compelling all the way through. And I think, first of all, the acting was great.
That's good.
The acting was really, really good. We didn't take any shortcuts because, this is, some over the top telenovela, super South African stories type of, we don't need to really commit narratively to having qualified or capable actors here, give any budget real, towards, wardrobe or, set design, or really trying to build an atmosphere. It's just like, no, y'all got a week to shoot. And then there's no depth to the characters. Like, if you're evil, like the way we wouldn't have gave if girl would have gave Jonasi nothing, he would have just been wicked the entire time. It just goes all the way around. It goes to 100 to where, because at least with Jonasi, you could see, I could see why even after all of that, they would stick around or they would want to be with him in the first place, or what he has to offer. But with Tyler, it's just nothing. If you're evil, what was that? What were we watching? Divorce in the Black.
Oh God!
I was like, why would you ever want to be? God damn it, Corey! Like, you're just terrible. Or even if we have like a Matipa, if you're a Madonna or a whore artist, you're a hoe. You're just super hoe 24/7, and you don't have like. Can she do anything? Like, it's just to the max, and there's nothing else or no nuance or gravitas to add to any of these characters. In the whatever show or movie, it suffers for it, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. But thank you, Boo, for that super chat. Tyra, the white outfits, and drop it in the chat as well. Please feel free to respond. The white outfits, genius costuming or heavy-handed symbolism? Because it wasn't just the white outfits, it was also the red and the hot pinks in Matipa. It was yeah.
Absolutely. I said, you said you Jezebel, you go put those reds on, those fire. I said there's no reason for her to be laced in this red. Not at this event. The way they had Matipa and all that red 24/7, and then Joyce and her, because she's just so I'm pure white as the innocent snow. I'm the victim here. I'm a victim. Like her and that white baby, she had those whites on. I think it was very, and even into in Essie and how eccentric and how kind of loud her personality could be. Her wardrobe also reflected that. I think the costume choices were very, very selective, and there was some thought put into it. I don't think it was just, just for sake. No, they were trying to say something without saying it. Costuming matters. Costuming matters.
They were. It does. Colors matter. I saw like the richness of Essie's colors, like the golds and the oranges, and it felt like warm, and it felt like close to home, and it felt like comfortable. Then you had the white, then you had the red, and then, honey, you had Lindani, just fine, just for no reason. But now let's get over here. If Sue Nyathi's publishers could see Netflix numbers now, those ones that rejected her in 2012, what would they say, Tyra?
Well, how many more you got? What else you got? We didn't take it. We could take it now. Like I think this has really solidified her as a force as far as her stories. And if you didn't want me then, you're definitely gonna want me now. I'm just glad that the eyes are finally open and she can be seen.
Absolutely. And I'll be sure to drop the other books in my description after the live, or go back to that slide, because she has 3 more books that are currently out, and she's working on some as we speak. So keep an eye out for Sue. Like you said, a great storyteller. Just from this adaptation, I can tell. I'm actually adding this book, The Polygamist. I'm going to read it, honey, because I need to know what you said in that book, girl, in 2012. And so finally, could you sit through a 20th anniversary party knowing what Joyce knew, Tyra? Could you sit through it?
Oh, no. No, that's when you knew Joyce was built different and she was in this for the long haul. I would never want to, but she chose to because she said, this is my man, not yours. She said, I don't give a damn what he did. This is my husband. I won this prize. I worked for it.
And on that note, sister, keep your prize, because don't nobody else want it but you. But you guys, 2 hours and 47 minutes later, that was The Polygamist. And this is the books, if you need to screenshot this page to see An Angel's Demise, A Family Affair, The Gold Diggers, and of course, The Polygamist. These are her current books. All, I believe, are available on Amazon and maybe even some on Audible. So be sure to check her out. But y'all, that was The Polygamist. That's what we got for it. If you haven't checked out my upload, please go check out that upload. It's a good 30-some minutes. Add this to that, put it on a playlist, enjoy it. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe on both channels, do all of those things. But Tyra, before we get out of here, what you got going on? Any final thoughts on The Polygamist? Let people know.
Man, if you're gonna sleep around, just wear some protection, all right? just strap up, please. Come on, put a hat on your Jimmy, please. Can you do that, Jonasi? But as far as I'm concerned, be sure to join me tomorrow. I will be getting into the latest episode of Raising Kanan, which is always a good time. If you are watching Raising Kanan and you're loving it and you want to hear my raggedy commentary, please join me tomorrow for that. But thank you guys so much for watching and supporting us for this 3 hours. That's commitment. We appreciate y'all.
Thank y'all. But yeah, that's all I got for it. Thank you for coming through. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for the jewels, all of the things. We appreciate you so much. And yeah, we will see y'all in the next video. Have the most amazing night and have a good weekend.